Welcome, everybody. Shank Club NFL is back in the building in all the usual places. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Periscope. You can also find us on our Facebook group. If you search Shank Club NFL, you can join the group. My name is Nick Cork, and I am back this week. We are talking diversity in NFL. We're also going to be breaking down the games that are on tomorrow. And Pete has actually resurfaced, believe it or not. And he's coming up right now. Let's do this. Welcome. We are the Shank Club NFL. Yeah. The Shank Club is back in the building. And people thought he'd vanished. But no, we have a rare sighting of the Mike Tomlin clone, Mr. Pete Bentman. Pete, welcome back to the show, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Thanks for letting me have a week off, considering it was my birthday. And I'm not officially contracted or getting paid for doing this. So thanks for letting me have a day off. But the lads filled in. It's always a good show. Do miss it. Obviously, last night got on Twitter after a few beers and made me realise how much I've missed everybody in the banter. So it was kind of like chuck everything out, get the laptop back on, and I'm ready for these guys to give me one hell of an abusive session today.
I thought it was actually 2 weeks because you vanished after you went Owen in the playoffs, mate. So it was actually 2 weeks. So... And yes, it was your birthday, but it was your birthday Thursday, not last Saturday. But anyway, nice to see you've dressed up for the occasion and you've ripped a few holes in your expensive jeans. That's really good. So, Pete, anything you want to say over your team's pathetic showing against the Browns in the playoffs?
Mate, I'm sure we can talk about it when everyone else comes on. I don't know what there is to say. You wait all that time to see your team in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden the first snap of the game sets the tone, and from there on in it just got worse and worse and worse. And it's always frustrating when you watch your team not do themselves justice. But yeah, it wasn't very nice to watch or enjoy. But beginning of the season, if someone said we were going to finish 12-4, be the AFC North champs, fuck it, mate, I would have took that. No one expected us to win the Super Bowl. It was fun while it lasted. Got a bigger mop while you can. But still AFC North champs. Season's done. Roll on till next season. I'm finally over it.
Yeah, because, of course, the AFC North is a massive title to win, and I'm so envious of you not. Anyway, let's get some guests on. As ever, Carl is in the building. Carl, you can have first dibs. You can have first dibs taking shots at Pete for his pathetic team.
Oh, I did have some good takes for it, but it drowned in the Three Rivers. First of all, it's good to be back on the show as always, Nick. Pete, you let Freddie Harper-Davis take all of the punishment last week, and what have you got to say for yourself?
Freddie is always there to take the flak, and he will always fight the Steelers' corner. But I say, it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to come on. It was just the fact that life isn't all about the NFL. And as much as I would like to commit and spend every Saturday with you douchebags, unfortunately, I am allowed a week off every now and again.
Oh, sorry, Pete. Go on, Carl.
I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is now 2 weeks ago, and I think and a lot of other stuff has bypassed us since then. But it is what it is, unfortunately. But losing to your divisional rivals in a wild card game, especially a team that's not been there since 2002. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of you have to like eat some humble pie with regarding of this.
Yeah,
they were the punch
it
bag
to
of the
win it, mate.
NFL. So,
to be honest with
They
you,
were
I
definitely
think
the punch bag of jokes.
mate, there's only one team that could win the Super Bowl, and there's 31 other teams that try and do it. Well, what have Cleveland done? They went one game further. There's no trophy in their cabinet for going to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure there's a trophy in our cabinet for being AFC North champ. So,
right, but
Cleveland for beating us, but they won nothing. Well done, Cleveland. You went one game further. Well done.
Here's the thing: is though, when franchises win titles, it's usually they hang Super Bowl banners of the Super Bowl of what they've won, not of your division. That's basic.
Pretty sure when most of the teams start the season, the first goal is to win your division. And we did that. All right, we didn't go any further, but neither did anyone else in our division. So
I will say this, tell that to the New York Giants who won the Super Bowl twice. They didn't even win their division, yet they still managed to go all the way.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably find at the beginning of the season their goal was to probably win that division before anything else. And I'm pretty sure you'll find with all 32 teams, they probably division champions.
Oh, no, I'm not bypassing that at all. The goal for every team is to make sure you win your division. But, if you get a wild card, you have to make it while it counts.
Yeah. You know what? Like I say, we're out. We weren't expected to win the Super Bowl. We're out. Fair play. But I'm pretty sure we got further
him to win the Super Bowl.
Further than the Niners and the Patriots. So I can't really work out why you guys are enjoying it so much, because your team stunk the place out. And if anything, probably both of your teams choked more than the Steelers did this season. But just saying.
We didn't choke. We didn't choke. We were just shit. As I said,
it doesn't matter about any other team. It's you, Pete, and the Steelers, and you bigged them up for 11 weeks. They were the greatest team ever, and they were going to do this, they were going to do that, and basically they did zero. Anyway, let's move on to a team that is actually still in the playoffs. It's the man that can't jump through tables, even though he promised to if they win the Super Bowl. Matt, how are you, my friend?
I'm still good. I'm still alive. I'm still hobbling. Stairs are still a bit of a pain. And I really need someone just to go over the top half of my screen so I don't have to see Pete. Because the fun last few shows without him.
I'm impressed.
Even Matt is loading up on you, Pete.
I have more, but it's just not worth. He's just not worth the time now. He's had his say, and if 11-0, what happened then? You went on a run of four straight defeats, getting knocked out.
1-5.
1-5.
Yeah, 1-5. After that, 11-0 start.
My bad. Yeah, 1-1.
We were a terrible team, winning 11 games. I've got so much to say about the Steelers and how much they need to improve and how poor they've been. And like I said, I think that they've been terrible all year, and the fact that they still went 12-4 and won a division with one of the worst seasonal performances I've ever seen. Hats off to the team for doing it, because it was fucking pretty much dreadful all season.
Well, particularly the running game.
There wasn't a running game.
No, that's why I'm saying they're still trying to find it. They're still trying to find it with fucking Le'Veon Bell left.
This is exactly my point. We're a team that, all right, we had a decent defense, but we ended up sort of pretty much the same as every other team. Ended up playing third and fourth and fifth string defensive players. We had no run game. Our tight end game was basically non-existent. Big Ben wasn't great. The wide receivers, we had no one sort of hitting any decent yardage. It was just a whole season of crap. And the fact that we still won a division and we're out, I'm not surprised we're out. We've been terrible all year, but it was great while it lasted. But I'm not going to be the first person to say we're a fucking great team, because we're terrible all year.
The Steelers were the
Go on, Matt. The collapse is just like one of those rich tea digestives that you dunk in your tea for too long. That's just how bad it was.
I was going to say anyway, but then that would be a pun on your one, Matt, wouldn't it?
I was going to say, Matt's probably got a whole pad full of puns to bring up, and we're going to get to them. Right, let's bring someone else on. It's the shark, man. Look, I woke him up there. He weren't ready for that.
No, I wasn't, to be fair. I mean, there's something that's baffling me right now, and it's that you're talking about an organisation that's won 6 Super Bowls and you're celebrating the AFC North. What has happened to you? Jesus Christ. We didn't win the division. We're still going. It's not all about winning the division. It's about the postseason. That's completely pathetic.
It's all about winning it, but at the end of the day, the first thing you do when you start a season is try and win the division. And a team that has done next to nothing and has been terrible all year, you've got to take the wins where you can get them, mate. I can assure you.
Did you celebrate your 8-8 last year when you actually still won?
I know you were saying we're a franchise that's won 6 Super Bowls, and yeah, we are, but we were never expected to win this Super Bowl. We were never even sort of due to come close. And the fact that teams like the Ravens were supposed to be going 16-0 and the Browns are this amazing team, I think I can sort of hold my head up high and say that we've had a decent season, mate, to be fair.
I mean, you've made the playoffs, but you can't go out first play in the playoffs or first drive of the playoffs and ping the ball over your own head and give away 6 points. I mean, there's a line where you've been this elite team over the whole course of the Super Bowl era, so you have to take it on the chin. The AFC North for an organisation like the Steelers is not something you should ever be celebrating, regardless of the situation.
Disagree.
Especially collapsing 28-0 on the first quarter.
Yeah, no, we can't mention 28 points in the first quarter and 6,500 yards through the air and that. Anyway, Stuart.
Talk about last year's Super Bowl.
Green Bay Packers.
Gentlemen.
Stu.
How are you?
It's okay, Pete. At least you have Dwayne Haskins. They see the shop now.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of. I don't know what to make of that sided. I really don't. The guy got kicked out of Washington because of a stupid thing going to a strip club. Not that was the problem. It's the fact he didn't wear a mask while he was in the strip club. That's what he got kicked out for.
Are they paying him in singles?
Yeah, that's what he's getting paid. But anyway, we will bring up Dwayne Haskins because I am quite interested in Pete's view on that. Good to have you along, Stu. And we have someone that's just popped on, and he's going to be, well, he has been very humble all week. Ivan,
Here he is.
Guys. Have you got over the loss?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, as I said last week, it was going to be a good game. It was a good game. We made it close in the end. There's only 2 other teams that scored or held the Chiefs to lower points than we did, and we've had no secondary at all year, and we're a slow team. And the Chiefs, as you know, are a really fast team, so we did really well. So what Pete was Pete. I mean, come on. I have to pick you up on that comment. The Browns were meant to be this super team. The Browns started their season with another complete rebuild virtually. So, the Browns are the ones who have been successful, not the Steelers.
You've got this amazing roster that is just waiting to explode. And to be fair, this year, Stefanski's got a tune out of them, and fair play to him.
Yeah. So the Chiefs, the Chiefs deserved to win the game. It was close. It's a couple of decisions here or there, but it was a good game. Enjoyed it. Well done to the Chiefs. Great team. Good to see they're back to full strength against the Bills. So that's going to be an absolute cracker of a game. So looking forward to that one.
Funny thing is, you say that, and I've watched that Mahomes injury, or alleged injury, should we say. I must have watched that back 10 or 15 times. And I think when he's tackled, Mr. Spock Vulcan death grip on his pads or something made him unconscious. Because there's no way that was a concussion. Because if that was a proper, what you would say was concussion, how many players, and don't give me this he's Superman bullshit, how many players can you honestly think of that have been concussed properly the week before that have come back and now they're playing? And he cleared it, apparently.
And he was wobbling off the pitch. He didn't even know where he was. If that was a concussion, he would not be playing in the game tomorrow.
No, exactly.
No way.
So
No
I do
chance.
think someone's in a Dr. Spock when he got tackled by one of your players, Ivan, gave him the Vulcan death grip, but they couldn't get it on properly because he didn't go out fully. So
Well, they're claiming Wilson who hit him. The helmet didn't hit him, so it must have been. I don't know. I've seen it like you. I've seen it so many times, and it wasn't a dirty tackle. I don't know how he managed to how that injury came about. So yeah,
it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
But his toe,
Right,
he's damaged his toe, isn't he? So he's still not.
He's got
100%.
turf toe. He's got turf toe.
Yeah.
But I'd just stand there and throw it, mate. You ain't going to be as mobile, or you might not be running it, but fuck me, you can still bomb it 60 yards. Who gives a shit? Tyreek Hill gets open, forget about it. Right, let's talk about the games, because I know Mr. Shark and Matt need to go because apparently there's some football games on. But us at the Shank Club, me and Pete, you see, I've got a tablet next to me ready for the Brighton game, and Pete's got it on the big TV. But unfortunately, some people can't multitask. Anyway, Mr. Shark, what do you think is going to happen this Sunday with your game? What's your keys to the game? How do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Are you worried about the weather? I know Tom Brady has played, obviously, in snow and stuff up in New England, but everyone's worried about the weather, and apparently it is going to be snowing, etc. What's your keys to the game?
Well, if you're a team that wants to earn a place in the Super Bowl and you're going to get off-put by the weather, you probably shouldn't be in contention for the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know it's cold, but like you've faced 19 weeks of challenges. What's a bit of snow? We're going in with a bit of confidence. Obviously, huge upset last week. I thought the defense played fantastic, which is, I think, a shock to everyone how well we played in that fourth quarter against Drew Brees. So I think that's going to be instrumental to stopping what is probably the best connection from quarterback to wide receiver this season of Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. The biggest worry for me, though, is that Drew Brees isn't a mobile quarterback. And in the first playoff game, Heineke, he had it way with the scramble. I said last week, they're less dangerous because they can't scramble. With Aaron Rodgers being the dual threat that he is, I feel like that is going to be the big thing to stop. Because many teams this season, we've been able to stop them to like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. And they've just gone and scrambled, and we've given them the fresh set of downs really cheap. So for me, it's making sure we get to Aaron Rodgers and keep him there, get in his face. There's a lot of good tip passes last week from us. I think Roches got on this off the pass rush quite well, who's not somebody you usually see. So it's all about making sure we get in Rodgers' head. And obviously, this is a big opportunity for both of these quarterbacks. They both want to go and get another ring in their career. It's again a huge heavyweight matchup. But I've got to hope that playoff Brady turns up, utilizes all the weapons we've got. A slight loss with Antonio Brown, but it opens up the ability for Scotty Miller to come in on that deep ball as well, which he's been very successful with. So for me, just make sure we get to Rodgers, make sure we don't let them have their way with Davante Adams, and keep doing what we're doing on offense and what we have done all year, and we should come out with a win.
It's interesting what you say about Rodgers, because I think sometimes his running is underrated. He's not Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, etc. with his legs. He's certainly got the arm strength, but he does scramble quite well, and he climbs the pocket very well, which, as you said, if you can't get a pass rush, your corners aren't going to be able to cover for 10 seconds on Davante Adams and the tight end coming out, and maybe Adams coming out of the backfield. Stu, what do you think on that? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is underrated for his scrambling and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, more for that. It's when he chooses to scramble, it's always very strategic. He doesn't just, panic in the pocket and just take off. It's mostly when it's man coverage, because, the defenders have got their back to him, so they can't see him, and he knows then if he can pick up 6, 7, whatever yards it can be, it's always very, very well thought out. I thought that pump fake for Leonard Floyd last week was just ridiculous. You could just see the soul leave the man's body. But he has these if you look at the early stages of his career, scrambling and his running was, as you say, like very, very underrated, and something that was never looked upon because it's so good through the air with his arm.
Stu, what are the things that you think are going to be the keys to Green Bay coming away with a W this weekend, mate?
Well, it depends. When they played them in week 6, now I know that's a long, long time ago, they sacked Rodgers 3 times, and it was obviously the Packers went 10-0 up, but then Bowles just went blitz crazy on them, and the Packers didn't have an answer, so they didn't. I listened to Devontae Adams on Chris Collinsworth's podcast, and he said they didn't have a short game plan in place. So I think it depends what kind of blitz package that Bowles brings. I think you'll not catch Rodgers out the same way he did the first time. If we can avoid the blitz and get the running game going, I think we've seen 188 yards on the ground last week. Just took it away from the Rams on the ground. Just they split their linebackers out to cover any running back out of the backfield, and we just played the likes of Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon right up the middle. If we can get the running game going, that play action pass afterwards, I think that's where it'll be won. So,
yeah. And Shark, what do you recommend? Do you guys need to basically get down into the red zone to have any chance of winning this game? Because obviously a huge threat when it comes to having Evans, Goodwin, Gronk down there in the red zone. Evans is an absolute monster when you get down there. But do you feel that that's going to be the key to the game? You kind of got to get down to that part of the field to make it count.
It's certainly important. Yeah, I think one of the biggest players for our playoff campaign has been Leonard Fournette. Now, I said last week he had a point to prove with the whole. He sort of did have the Jags year where they didn't go that far. He's then been forgotten about. So he's playing for his future in the NFL. Now he's stepped up an immense level. I believe he's got the start over Ronald Jones this week as well, which I think if anyone watched the game last week is completely justified. I mean, on first down running, he was so much better. But is getting to the red zone the key? Not really, to be honest. I feel like we've got big play potential in the team. I think the key is, I don't think the run game for the Packers is anything I'm particularly like that stressed about. I mean, Stu just talked about the running game there, but this is the number one run defense for a reason. No team runs the ball successfully on us. I think the only person who's had a 100-yard game on us this year has been Dalvin Cook, and that was only just. And we beat them comfortably, and that was only because they had to run the ball because Kirk Cousins was getting nothing going, as Kirk Cousins likes to do. So for me, I think we need to get turnovers. We need to get in Rodgers' head, whether it be a fumble, for a touchdown, something huge to get the defense going. But we need to knock him off his game because he's simply too good when he's in stride. If he gets in confidence, it doesn't matter if we're scoring on them. He'll just keep scoring on us. So it's our job to stop him, make him feel uncomfortable at Green Bay, try and get that crowd silent, get them a bit worked up and angry with each other. And you never know, we could come away and obviously play in 2 weeks.
Have you actually had the thoughts in your head yet, thinking potential Super Bowl in your own back garden? Or have you just kind of not even thought about it? This is the game that matters.
Well, I say Tampa have a real problem with not being able to think about the Super Bowl because there's advertisement in the city, there's all the banners going up, and it's right. You can see this all from the training grounds. You drive in to go to training. You see all the buses and the trams and stuff that have now got Super Bowl advertising. So I think, honestly, we need to get out to Green Bay as quick as possible. Obviously, it's difficult with all the COVID restrictions if we have to fly on the day. But we need to get away from the stadium because it's like Bruce Arians said, if we're thinking about Super Bowls, the Packers are going to beat us. But the only thing is, are the Packers going to fall into that same trap last year where they looked at the 49ers and thought, oh, this is a beatable team. We're a bit confident. Do they get overconfident? Do they make some riskier plays? But for us, it's all about this Sunday. I said this last week. I said the regular season games are completely irrelevant. It's right now that's important, and it's always the next game you have to concentrate on. So if we play in 2 weeks, we cross that when we achieved it. I don't think we should be thinking about that now.
Carl, what's your
that's a very good point. Sorry. Obviously, sorry, Pete. Obviously, Shark has got to go, and Matt's got to go very, very shortly. So before everyone goes, Shark, give us a quick score prediction, mate, and then we'll let you hop off.
All right, 31-23, but if there's a Rodgers miracle, it will be 31-29 with a stopped 2 point.
Nice. Stu, are you going to hang about and talk the other games?
I'll hang the wire, yeah.
Okay, what's your score prediction?
34-31 Pack.
That'll be a game.
Nice.
That'd
Be a game, yeah, exactly. Shark, we may see you next week or the week after for the Super Bowl preview. We are going to be talking coaching hires and diversity again next week, obviously because it's a down week in the NFL. But thanks for coming on, Shark, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Right, Matt.
Weekend, guys.
6 minutes to talk about it, and we have Mr. Rogers back with us. Scott, did you test negative to COVID? Is the first question.
Yep. Yeah.
Excellent news.
Good man.
So you will be going to the game tomorrow.
No, I can't go. I was going to go with my brother, but he's got to stay. His wife's quarantined. The whole deal, isn't over until next week. So we're just going to stay home and watch the game at the house. I think, just take it easy. So
I saw the tweet this morning, Scott. There were big tears saying that you were selling your tickets, man. I could just feel the pain in that tweet that you knew you weren't going to be able to go.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity. Go, Scott.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cole.
Just out of curiosity, how much does those tickets cost? I mean, I can only imagine it'd be a small fortune.
Well, so being a season ticket holder, I got first access. They were $100, which really isn't too bad considering what they were going for on the resale market. I mean, they were selling for almost up to like $900, $1,000 a ticket at the beginning of the week.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's just
how many
things come down, but I sold them to a friend of ours. I'm sorry, what was that, Nick?
How many are they allowed in the stadium, Scott?
I think 16,000. I think the same as last week. So it's about 20%. Which, if you watch the game, 16,000 people can make a lot of noise.
John.
Yeah, they
so
do.
John's in the house.
Especially at Arrowhead.
We're doing, John.
Damn.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Pete. Carl,
John.
Nick.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't get to go to the game, but the family member here that's had the COVID issues doing much better, feeling well, getting past that, and everybody else is feeling good and being, testing negative. So just happy with that. And, there's more important things in football games in the bigger picture. So I got to go last year. I got to watch him, hoist the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Sold him to a good friend of ours, a neighbor, a guy here. Every game day, he's got the Chiefs flag flying, and he gets his speakers out in the yard, and he plays the touchdown song whenever they score. And he's looking forward to going. So, I'm excited for him that he gets to go watch the AFC Championship.
Matt, does that just make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up or what?
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously, community, really good thing. Obviously, not just. Obviously, it's unfortunate that you can't go to the game. I wish I could actually go over to a Bills game. It's been for my first experience. It's something I will eventually do. But no, I think if we're talking about the game itself, it's going to be a real good game. It's obviously the top two offenses, and no disrespect to the Packers and the Bucks, but you're talking about the future now with Allen as the quarterbacks on there, and it's just going to make win or lose for me. I'm actually just happy that we're into the championship game. I knew that we could get this far, but if we lose out, I'm happy that we've actually gone to the championship game. Next year it'll be the final step in actually going to the game.
Yeah, it's really great to see the potential that everyone saw at the beginning of the season with the Bills. Could they do it? They put their money where their mouth is. They're there, man. You've got to be really happy.
Yeah, I am. I mean, obviously with the whole Mahomes thing, I was saying I was having a debate on my show with my co-host. I said, and a guy from the UK Chiefs, that I'd call it a hollow victory if we won and Ched Henne was the quarterback. Then if Mahomes wasn't playing, then actually playing Mahomes. Just obviously to be the best, you want to beat the best, and you want the best players out against you. And no disrespect to Ched Henne, if he's playing, then there's more of a chance of a win. And for me, it'd be hollow, and I'd rather win with Mahomes actually at the helm, and then the two young two young bucks actually going head to head, slinging that ball all over the place.
I hope for your
That's the
sake,
thing,
Matt,
Matt,
that
you
they
make
do.
a very
Sorry, Neil, I just want to say I hope for Matt's sake that they do go toe-to-toe and do themselves justice because they've been great all season. Just don't go giving them a fucking 28-0 head start like the Steelers. you wait for this moment.
No,
and when
I don't
that
think-
happens, man, it sucks.
Well, the thing is, what we've learned from the Bills over the last two games in the playoffs is that we know how well they can put points on the board on offense. But last week's game against the Ravens, I was impressed with your defense. The way you just contained Jackson. It's a different, but now you have to put the two elements together to beat this team. This is going to be not straightforward at all for the Bills.
Oh yeah, we know that this game we're going to have to play that complete game, not just on offense, but special teams and especially defense. I mean, week 6, we actually we devised a plan to stop Mahomes in the air. It cost us on the ground considerably on there, but I think since that game we've started to get a lot better in defense. Defense is starting to become what it was the last couple of years before that, and I believe that we can actually cause I don't know if you call it an upset or we can cause the Chiefs to actually lose. Mahomes making a few mistakes on there. I believe that, and I've always had that faith throughout the season. I think it is the complete game, and just to try and keep Mahomes in the pocket and try and make it hard for him, confuse him, and all that, and don't let him scramble because he's like Josh. When he scrambles, he can make plays with his feet, and if we can try and keep him contained as best as possible, who knows with that toe, that might cause a few issues because isn't it as planted? It's one he plants, doesn't it? A throw that's injured, is it?
Yeah, that's the toe. I think that's the toe. It's very interesting, Matt, you say about being a hollow victory, because I think if Mahomes doesn't play, which of course he is going to, but let's just say he was out and you did win, everyone would, as you said, hollow victory. Well, if Mahomes was in there, you wouldn't have won, and that's quite disrespectful to the Bills, really. I mean, Mahomes, of course, he's a fantastic player. We all know that, but he's not the only player that plays, is he? You've got all those other weapons.
Well, yeah.
And yeah, I agree. It would be disrespectful for anyone to say, "Oh, well, you only won because Mahomes wasn't playing." So it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Very interesting. I'm quite looking forward. Sorry, Matt. Go on.
As I said, don't get me wrong. If Mahomes didn't play or his toe got actually played up there without the rest of the game, don't get me wrong. If I could, I would be jumping and celebrating for the win. But I'd rather him be there for the four quarters, and we just make it uncomfortable for him. I mean, they've got Hill, they've got Kelsey, they've got Edwards-Helaire, Bell, Marcus Robinson. They've got the weapons on there, and I think even if they did have Henny in there, I still think they would cause issue. But I'm just looking forward to the first championship game in 27 years. Ironically, it was against the Chiefs. This time we're playing at Buffalo. But I'm just looking forward to it for a high-octane game. High scoring, about 37, 34 in the Bills' favour, obviously.
Matt,
I'll keep this beard intact for another 2 weeks.
Matt, I think the Bills need to run the ball this weekend a bit more. They won design run against the Ravens, and that's not going to, the best way to keep Mahomes out of the game is keep him on the sideline. You need to, one design run and a half of football is just not going to be called against the Chiefs.
No, I agree. I mean, the run game has really been the one that needs improvement every week. I mean, we do show signs of flashing ability in the run game and drill it, but then I don't know what it is why we can't just execute and have and Singletary probably gained a lot more yards than he's got. I think he's had about 630 yards on the season. For a running back, number one running back, he should be getting a lot more than that. Just hoping that we don't have to rely on Allen scrambling.
I think that was why you drafted Zach Moss. to complement towards Singletary. Singletary can be that catching running back out of the backfield, and Zach Moss be the ball rush.
Yeah.
But now Zach Moss is out, it's going to give Singletary more catches, and also it's going to give I think it's McKenzie as well that's going to get more touches along the way as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping they actually do give McKenzie more, because I mean he is our X factor in that game, because he can run, he can actually catch, he can even throw a couple of times, but he's one that needs to get more touches in there. I mean, Zach Moss, it's unfortunate that he's actually that he is out for the rest of the season. We signed Devontae Freeman in a couple of weeks ago. It's not good, but it's a little more of an upgrade over Yeldon that we've got.
I would have started with Christian Wade myself, but I digress.
Yeah, no. Next year.
One quick thing, Matt, before we let
next
you go,
year.
because obviously I know you want to go and watch the football. Got a comment here that I'd like you to answer. Would it be hollow if Josh Allen was out due to concussion, though? What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
So what? As in, if the Bills, would it be
Obviously,
a hollow win for the Bills or a hollow win for the Chiefs?
No, hollow win for the Chiefs, I think.
I mean,
Izzy was saying.
I would flip it and say it was the same way as if the roles were reversed and we were the Chiefs this season, coming on explosive and all that, and obviously Chiefs in our position. I would say it would be a hollow victory. Well, me personally, I would say it would be a hollow victory if they're there, because you're playing another backup in Matt Barkley, who, to be honest, he's not really had much. He's like Henny. He's had the odd snaps here and there in the game, but he's not really hit the height of what he could actually do as a backup, and then it would rely on a little bit more on other games. So I think it's similar to Mahomes not being there. If Allen's not there, in my opinion, if I was a Chiefs fan, I would probably say it would be hollow as well, because you say you want to be up against the best. You want to prove yourself against the best, and then obviously the rest they say is history.
It's annoying, Ivan, isn't it? The fact that obviously we finally got rid of Tom Brady, and then fucking Josh Allen's going to be the man that's now going to sort of be our thorn in our side in the AFC. Now the guy looks fucking good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a very good quarterback. No, I do think there are other teams, that are going to be able to compete. The Chiefs and the Bills have got two good quarterbacks. The Bengals get it together with Burrow. I think you're putting my Browns, hat in the ring. With Baker, PFF, he was the highest graded quarterback coming out of college football up until Burrow last year, and Lawrence coming out this year. So, Baker reaches his ceiling, he's going to compete with the Bills and the Chiefs. If the Bengals get, their act together, they've got a quarterback that's going to compete with those three as well. If Lawrence goes into the AFC, which he's, likely to, then, that's another one in the AFC. So
Justin Herbert as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some cracking good quarterbacks all in the AFC, and we can't forget the Ravens. They're still a very good team. So that AFC competition in the next few years, in the later rounds of the playoffs, is going to be huge.
The AFC quarterback, the AFC is getting younger. The NFC is getting older. You look at who's the oldest quarterbacks in the AFC currently, or at the top quality. It's Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield at the age of 25. The youngest in the NFC is Russell Wilson. He's 32.
Yeah.
Right, before we let you go, Matt, because I know you want to go and watch the West Ham game. Give us your score prediction.
I didn't hear that.
Come
on, my prediction it's going to be high scoring, definitely for sure with these teams. It's going to be a field goal in it. As I say, I'm keeping this beard intact for the next few weeks, and 37-34 Bills.
Interesting. Okay, Matt, we'll let you go and watch the football. Thanks for joining us as ever.
Cheers, guys.
And we may see you in a few weeks. Enjoy it, mate.
Matt, send our best
Okay,
buddies
then.
as well, Matt.
Take it easy, guys.
Later, man.
Scott,
Scott, what do you reckon the score's going to be, Scott?
I'm sorry.
What do you reckon the score's going to be in this one? What's your prediction?
I think the Chiefs win 37-27, 37-30, somewhere there. I think I just think the Bills are obviously a good offensive team, and Josh Allen has been on a good run here, but I think the Chiefs are still the better offense. I think they're the better defense. They're playing at home. They're fresher. I don't think the Bills, to me, they haven't looked maybe quite ready for the playoffs. Something's been off about them. They struggled against the Colts. The Colts had the ball with a chance to go down and tie or take the lead at the end, and Philip Rivers did what Philip Rivers has done his entire career, get in position to win the game and then lose the game. Then against the Ravens, I mean, their offense didn't really put up much. I mean, it was a defensive score that really flipped the game. And that game was, 17 to something? I think the Bills' offense only
17-3.
Yeah, the Bills' offense only scored 10 points against the Ravens' defense, which is still, a legitimate defense, but nothing like they had been the previous 2 or 3 or 4 years, or hell, even maybe the last 10 years. Chiefs' defense, they showed against the Browns. I think, Matt was saying, or someone was saying about the Bills needing to run the ball. The Chiefs, I think, held the Browns to like 18 or 20 yards rushing in the first half. And I understand what people are saying and about keeping Mahomes off the field and shortening the game and running the ball. But the one team that's been able to beat the Chiefs in the last year has been the Raiders, and they did it with big plays, throwing the ball downfield, and scored 41 points, and they basically beat them in a shootout. So I don't see the running your way to victory as a good formula that keeps getting touted against the Chiefs. You're going to have to score. You're going to have to score quick, and you're going to have to keep up, and your defense is going to have to find a way to get some stops against the Chiefs. And last week against the Browns, I think the Bills' defense may be slightly better than the Browns. I haven't really studied the numbers all that closely, but the Chiefs, before Patrick Mahomes got hurt, basically at the beginning of the second half, they had 20-something points and 300 yards in the first half of football. So I'm not trying to disrespect the Bills, but I just don't think they're quite there yet. And if the Chiefs play their game, they're going to win, especially at home with Patrick Mahomes.
Hopefully this week
very
you can practicing how to tackle, not helmet first. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Ivan?
Yeah.
I think the secondary of the Bills is slightly better than the Browns, especially when you got Tre'Davious White at corner and Micah Hyde at safety.
I think the other thing as well with the Browns is that the secondary is not good. They're not fast at all. So you've got a really fast team like the Chiefs. I mean that the play where they just had to get it over the line to win the game effectively. It's just about speed, and they're simple as that. The Browns have no speed, and if the Bills' defense can't cope with that Chiefs' offensive speed as well, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble because the model of playing football for me in the modern era is how the Chiefs play football with speed, both on offense and defense. And they're a cracking good team and thoroughly deserve to win the game. So it's going to be a good matchup, though.
It certainly is. I mean, we spoke last week, didn't we, Scott? And Ivan. We talked about the running game and how bad, allegedly, when you look at the stats, how bad the running game or the running defense was for the Chiefs. And it just proves that stats really mean nothing when you kind of break the game down. Dion. As you can see, my man Pete is back in the building, and I believe we to say hello to him.
Pete, where you been, my friend?
Like, life isn't all about the NFL. I've had some things come up. I've had my birthday. Don't think I've been avoiding you, man, because I've been around, but life gets in the way sometimes, man. You know that.
Oh no, I understand, man. I was looking for you to be, hiking on those lovely hills and that scenery that you had, man. I was looking for that. That's what I was looking for. And I thought you were just avoiding us. But we felt neglected, didn't we, guys? Did we feel neglected a little bit? Just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Mr. Rogers was sitting here winning games and stuff without his starting quarterback. Hellhound had a nice run. Me and John, we were just chilling. Carl's being the amazing guy that he is. Everybody was just having a good time. And we were sitting there, man. We said, "Where's Pete? We miss Pete," and our hearts were hurt. But we understand that life gets in the way. But hopefully, you had an amazing birthday, sir. And we're all in mourning over what happened with the Steelers.
Well, I'm glad that
I'm in afternoon.
I mean, I was gonna say I don't think Hellhound really cares. It's direct division.
But I would like to wish Pete a happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you, man.
It was a big 39, guys. So it was worth celebrating.
Shut up.
Hey man, look, I hit the big 4-0 this year. So.
Man. Well,
when I get there, man, believe you me, I will let you know. But yeah, man, see, he killed me there, Nick, because I was gonna give it to him, and then he said life got in the way. So now I can't. I just
Dion. Food shopping got in the way one week, and then the first week he just couldn't be asked.
The difference is,
I can't. It's something inside of me, man. When people go through things and somebody tells me life got in the way, I can't. I really can't. I do have to say, Mr. Rogers, you got lucky, damn it. You got lucky. You really did, man. You really got lucky. Yeah, for sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, brother.
There you go, Scott. What do you say to that?
Sorry, y'all. I'm getting breakfast for the wife.
Dion, I hope you've got that for everybody, man. You're not getting it for yourself.
Say that again?
Hope you're getting that for everybody and not just buying for yourself.
Well, look, that's a lot of UPS and or FedEx that I gotta send. The only people that's gonna get by the time it got here. The only people getting some Chick-fil-A at a bare minimum, unfortunately, would be John and Mr. Rogers, because they're in the U.S. It's going to be cold as shit when it gets there, but it might be all right. But either way, since Nick is not necessarily to where we'll just have a little laugh on what happened with the Steelers. It's a small little light chuckle because it was very unfortunate. And meaning to ask you, Pete, how do you feel about your newly acquired quarterback, Mr. Haskins?
I mean, it's one of them things that is low risk for high potential as far as I'm concerned. The guy was a previous first round pick. Okay, he's maybe a little bit sort of bad in the dressing room, but we need someone there that's maybe a little bit more. We need something else there. Although I was a little bit concerned seeing in 15 games, Mason Rudolph actually got better stats. But to be fair to Mason, he's probably had a little bit more around him than what Haskins had. But I just hope it doesn't stop us from, if something comes up in the draft, that we don't go with it because he's there. But yeah, I'm sure you guys know better than me. Sometimes these first rounders go to a team and it doesn't work out and they go somewhere else and it works out for them. So I've got no problem.
Hey,
I've got no problem.
The caveat here is for all of us here, we all know this. Mr. Brett Favre, which is how Paul Tagliabue said his name when he was drafted, was not always a Packer. He was a Falcon first. That's who drafted him. So there's your point. But John V, buddy, what are you always telling me about Ohio State quarterbacks?
Man, we don't produce quarterbacks, brother.
So there's your point. Exploded right in your face. Sorry, it just died right now. It just old states and quarterbacks are like oil and water. They don't mix. It's unfortunate, man. So I still think you're gonna need to go in the draft and find a better successor because Mason Rudolph, I don't trust anybody named Duck. I can't. But it's. I say go after the kid Kyle Trask. Nobody's really talking about him. Throws a pretty ball. Don't go anywhere near North Dakota State.
You mean Kyle Trask?
Kyle
Trask. You just stole my thunder, Nick.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry, Carl. It wasn't a thing. You got to send me like a private message on Twitter and say, don't say this. That way I don't.
Traski's a good quarterback.
That's what I'm saying, and he's going to look a lot better, man. And Florida seems to produce some fairly good quarterbacks. I did my own research one time, and that the college that has produced the most Super Bowl winning quarterbacks is Alabama.
I'll say this, Dion, okay, and this is straight to you, Nick, and to John as well, as regarding your 49ers. Tight end in the draft, number 1, Kyle Pitts. If he falls out of the top 10, I'll say this honestly right now, the 49ers cannot pass this guy up. Why? Because smart franchises do not pass up on generational talents like Kyle Pitts.
We have a generational talent in George Kittle. So.
Yeah, but put Kyle Pitts in as well. Who the fuck are you gonna double cover?
Charlie Ward is doing
I mean,
all right. We don't need another one.
I know where you're going with that, but nah. The issue is that George is the man, and you can't. It was easy to bring in a Jordan Reed. I still feel like they underused him in many different ways, but as far as having, another George Kittle type, I for money purposes, I say no. Especially because the draft is going to be, because the cap is going to be shit this year. We don't really know what it's going to be. We're prepared for 175 mil. It could be higher, but we're banking on just that. But I say stay away from a tight end. If anything, we need to go cornerback or offensive lineman in the first round of the draft. If we draft another defensive lineman, God damn it, I don't want to watch football. Tired of defensive linemen in the first round. It makes absolutely no sense. You can't just keep drafting defensive linemen and thinking that's the way you do it. What happens if we don't get Trent Williams? We need to find a left tackle if we don't have him. Because I ain't counting on Justice School to do a damn thing to get beat by any elite edge pass rusher.
What would you say, Dion and John, and we'll go around the horn with this? Deshaun Watson. I think it's all bullshit that he wants out of the Texans and blah and all that crap. But, and obviously I know we've got a couple of Niners fans. We've obviously got Hellhound and obviously Carl. What would you give up for Deshaun Watson, Carl, if you had the chance to go and get him? Because they're talking 3 first rounds, a couple of second. I mean, it's crazy. Forgetting the money that this year, apparently that it's not that bad. It's next year when his big money comes in. What would you give up? What would you give up?
If I was talking hypothetically here, here's what you'd give up for Deshaun Watson. You'd give up a first round pick of this year, and you probably give up a first round pick for the next 2 years, and you would probably trade away not one of your best goal, but one of your best playmakers. So for us, we'd probably trade away Stephon Gilmore to go get Deshaun Watson. But talking from a realistic point of view, we've got the draft pick, we've got the actual cap space to do it. We've got the cap space money to do it. We just don't have the capital to do it. And also, you got to look at the team as well. If our offenses, we've got a great offensive line, brilliant running backs, we've got a plethora of weapons, but all we're missing is the quarterback. Fine. We sell off the whole house and we go get Deshaun Watson. But we've got so many needs at receiver, at tight end, and also on the defensive side of the ball. There's too many holes to fill. It would set us back a good 3 to 5 years if we did get Watson.
Trade is going to take too much.
the team that should be
No, go
going
ahead,
all
Carl,
out
go ahead,
ahead
go
with the Jets. If the Jets, the Jets have built up draft capital, they can give the Texans whatever they ask for to get him. So you're getting if I was the Jets GM, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be going out to get him.
If the
The
Jets
interesting
do,
thing with
interesting.
the interesting thing about this, and you say the Jets, and I do agree with you, Ivan. Somehow the Texans have got to put right the fuck up that Bill O'Brien made by basically getting rid of everyone and leaving Watson with nothing. Now, the only way I guess they can do that is by getting draft picks, right? Because they lost a load of draft picks, didn't they, in the trade for I can't think of the guys. They brought in a lineman, didn't they, and got rid of some picks, and also obviously they got rid of Nuke. I just think the price is going to be too high to any suitors, even the Jets. I think the price is going to be too high. Pete, what do you think? I mean, I know obviously Big Ben's there. We know the cap hit. We know how much he's earning this year. But if you had the chance, what do you think? Would you auction everything and basically whatever team, if he goes, whatever team takes him, they are going to have to be in win now mode, and then hope that would you sacrifice all of that just to get Deshaun Watson at the Steelers? If you could.
I would blow the fucking door of the house out to get Watson, and that's no joke. Watching Big Ben and the Steelers for the last couple of years, the only thing we have been lacking is a mobile quarterback, and that guy is legit. And if you can go out and get him, I mean, I know, I know that we've got plenty of players that we could possibly demand, some trades. We haven't got that amount of sort of great draft picks to offer, but if it's on the table and it can be done, I say blow the shit out of the fucking house and get him in there, because with a player like that, you actually stand a chance of winning a Super Bowl, because otherwise the Steelers are going to start getting left behind. Like
Hey,
we were talking a little while ago with Jackson there, Mayfield there, Burrow there. That's just in our division. We need to keep up with these guys, and the only way we're going to do it is to get a player like Watson. But I can't see it. But if it's on the table, they've got to go and get him.
I don't think Steelers have the money to get them. I mean, they're well over the cap.
They are way over, but there are plenty of players that are going to be sort of, they're available to sort of go. So we might be able to make a little bit of space. But I know Nick was always sort of saying about rejigging the contract for Big Ben like Kansas have done. But the problem is, Nick, this is Big Ben's last year. It's guaranteed money. I can't see how you can rejig a contract when he's got no more years to play. If he wants to going to be there for fucking 10 years, Big Ben's gone after a year. I can't see how you can rejig a contract when it's guaranteed money and he's got no other years.
Yeah, but the thing is, Pete, the thing is with that, what I was saying about Big Ben's contract is you need to keep some weapons on offense and your defense, and he needs to take a big pay cut so you can pay those other players, front load the contracts so that they get a bit of money up front and then backload it bigger, because otherwise all of those players are going to walk. And what is the point of getting Deshaun Watson? Let's say, for instance, they trade for him, they get him, and Claypool walks, Juju Smith-Schuster walks, Brickhands has just retired yesterday. Ebron ain't getting nothing. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all well and good having. You can't. If you took Deshaun Watson hypothetically now and paid him, a lot of those weapons and a lot of the pieces on defense are going to walk. So you're back to square one in a rebuild, and that's the thing where the likes of the Steelers can't really want that, because they're going to lose out overall. It's not like the Jets have said, and like Carl said about the Pats, because they need that player. You don't need that player. You've got Haskins in there. Big Ben is probably, this may be his last season. Who knows? He may play lights out. He may play lights out next season. And they say, do you know what? He's still under contract. We will keep him again because of the new offensive coordinator and things like that. So it's not all simple for Big Ben. He may play.
I can't see Watson going anywhere though, Nick. I really can't. I don't. You can't get rid of Hopkins in the following year. I mean, everyone in Houston would just be fucking shitting bullets. It would just be horrific for the Houston franchise for them to get rid of their two best players back to back.
Just to jump in quick.
Here's the deal.
Detroit, right? Detroit. Sorry, go on, Carl. Sorry.
No, you're good. If Deshaun Watson is available in a trade, you trade whatever the hell they want to get him. When you look at the young quarterbacks in this league, I would rather have Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson. I would rather have him over Josh Allen. I would rather have him over Kyler Murray. I would take him second after Patrick Mahomes over any of these other younger quarterbacks that's been drafted in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years. Draft picks fail at a spectacularly high rate. How many teams? I mean, you can ask Hellhound here. How long did it take drafting a quarterback in the top round or two to get Baker Mayfield? How many guys did they go through?
Well, we were lucky. Baker Mayfield came out when we had the number 1 pick. So you go grab that dude, and you basically give the Kings ransom, whatever they want. You give it to them, and you get Deshaun Watson on your team, and you figure it out from there.
Browns went 0-16 when you got Baker.
Yeah.
But they picked tons of quarterbacks in the first and second round the last 10 or 15 years that panned. And you look at guys like Mitch Trubisky. I mean, they just if you can get a proven commodity at the quarterback position, and he's one of the top 2 or 3 young guys, especially, you got to do it. You got to give up whatever they want. And I saw some 49ers fans saying they wouldn't trade Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson, and I'm sorry, like those people, man. Like I don't know if they want.
I'm one of them.
I get it.
I am one of them.
Your guy. Yeah, you make that trade before.
Go ahead. Look, go ahead and put me in there too, because there ain't no way in hell. See, here's the thing, and I'll tell you this because I know exactly where you're going with that. I agree. You pay a king's ransom to get Deshaun Watson, but I am not giving up all of my weapons and then starting over for Deshaun Watson. I don't believe there's a quarterback in the league. I wouldn't do it for Patrick Mahomes. I don't care who it is. To me, you can't mortgage your future on one player and then expect to win. Now, mind you, Deshaun Watson is great when he goes around and he throws to no-name receivers and he makes them look good. You know, it's like, yeah, the guy can get you 4,000 yards and probably anywhere from 20 to 35 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, if I done gave up all my defensive pieces, I done did everything else, what the hell is the point? I'm not really winning. So for me, I look at it like this. If you have the draft capital, then you go get Deshaun Watson. If you don't have the draft capital, you don't. Because I can tell you right now, if I'm giving you Jimmy G in that deal for Deshaun Watson, you're getting a starting quarterback. Yes, if the man could stay healthy, for God's sakes, that would help. But you're getting a starting quarterback. So I gave you that. To me, that's worth a first-round draft pick in and of itself. And the man did, in his first full season where he actually played, he did go to the Super Bowl. So my thing is, if I'm giving you a quarterback, yeah, I'll give you a next year's first-round pick. But I'm not giving you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first-round picks. And I'm not giving you another a premier defensive lineman. That just, to me, sounds stupid because you're mortgaging your future based on one guy, and then you're giving up everything else that you have to make you a better team. Like it doesn't absolutely make any sense. I figure the reason that Deshaun Watson won't go anywhere is because now they have a competent GM. You know what I'm saying? This guy's going to make some moves.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
That GM. Well, you have to think about it. Who was the GM before? Wasn't it O'Brien? O'Brien was a dummy.
Oh no, Bill O'Brien. No, Bill O'Brien weren't the GM. He was the GM after they blew that lead against Kansas City, and then they appointed him GM.
But the thing is what I'm saying is, like, the new GM, I don't think he's gonna make these idiot asinine moves that Bill O'Brien made. But the other thing is so they decided. I'll just be flat out honest.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson wanted to go to Miami. You know why? Because they got a black GM and they got a black head coach.
Head coach.
That's why. So he wanted to go somewhere where he felt like that could be a trifecta. You're trying to increase your numbers in the league, and the single thing that they could have done at a bare minimum is told them what they were doing, and maybe he'd have been all right. But at the end of the day, how does Eric Bieniemy keep getting interviewed and not getting a job? It doesn't make sense. Do you understand what Eric Bieniemy could do with Deshaun Watson? Have you not seen what him and Andy Reid have done with Patrick Mahomes? And Watson is way more mobile than Patrick Mahomes is. Mahomes runs when he has to, and he knows he has a little bit of athleticism in him, and that's okay. But he's smarter. He throws the ball. He does what he has to do. Mahomes is the king of no-look passes and plays that you just don't expect to happen. But you interview Eric Bieniemy as something to say, okay, hey, Deshaun, look, we did this for you. And what did Deshaun do? Nothing. You interviewed him. That don't mean nothing to me. The Rooney Rule is bullshit. You know why? Because it's an interview. It doesn't say you need to hire someone. And at the same time, someone's resume should be enough for you to hire them, not necessarily, you interviewing them just because somebody said you have to because they're black. That just to me sounds stupid as shit. I always feel that way. I felt like the Rooney Rule was dumb from the beginning. So I can get an interview for the job, but you ain't telling me I'm going to get it. That just means, hey, it is what it is. You interviewed, bye. So that's what Deshaun Watson was looking for.
You bring up a great point about Bieniemy, because I can't understand why he hasn't got a job. I mean, I know obviously Scott's happy that he's still where he is. And it will be interesting to see what happens when the Super Bowl. I mean, if they go out, you see on the ticker on NFL Network, so and so has requested to have an interview with Bieniemy. Someone that. And if they go out Sunday, the phone is going to be red hot in Kansas City, because, and I honestly think if he doesn't get it this year, I know Carl was going to touch on diversity. I saw a thing that there's 45% black players in the NFL and 2% are GMs and
4%.
And that would be it's ridiculous. I know a lot of the stuff is Mahomes and the running game and Andy Reid, but Scott, Bieniemy, is he too overhyped? Is he underhyped? Are you going to lose him? What do you think?
So Eric Bieniemy is an interesting guy. All of the Chiefs players love him. They prop him up. They tout what a great leader he is. But outside of his stint as the offensive coordinator with the Chiefs the last few years, his resume really isn't all that spectacular, and he has issues in his background. Then again, I'm not saying should hinder him from being hired. Everybody can change. People grow. They do dumb things when they're young. We talked about this last week, with the Kareem Hunt thing. If there was, things in my 20s were all recorded, I'd probably not look like the best person either, because we all do dumb shit when we're young. But so I think that there's some things out there in his lack of success outside of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid being matched up with them. I just think it's a little underwhelming when you look at some of these other guys.
Okay, let me chime in here.
Randy Fichtner could fucking do what he's doing at Kansas City with players like that.
Yeah,
that's the thing that's hurting him. I think people are looking at it and going, Andy Reid's the one calling the plays, and Patrick Mahomes is a freak, and nobody else in the league's got Patrick Mahomes. I think that hurts him a little bit. You look at some of these other guys. I know Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but he's fired now. Matt Nagy has been less than spectacular with the Bears. And
Carl,
again,
did I
you look
see
at
Matt
Eric
Patricia's
Bieniemy's
gone back
resume
to
outside
back?
Kansas City. He doesn't have a whole lot there. And he's got the checkered past, which, again, I'm not saying that should be held against him at this point because people do grow and people change, and he's much more mature than he was, I'm sure, at that point in his life. So I think a lot of that stuff's getting glossed over, and I don't know. I think he's going to get hired. Someone's going to pick him. It's not like it's not going to happen. And here's the other thing, too. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is really smart, and when organizations that are hiring a new coach every 2 or 3 or 4 years are looking for a coach, he's sitting there and he's looking at it and he goes, do I really want to go coach the Lions? Do I really want to go coach the Jets? Do I really want to go coach these cellar dweller organizations that don't have their shit together? I think part of it, too, is probably maybe he's holding out for a better opportunity, which would be smart on his part.
I'll say this.
I
For
agree
me,
with you on that. Sorry, Leon, before you just jump in, sorry.
Go ahead.
I agree with you, Scott, because a lot of these people, whether they're black or white, whoever, look at some of these teams and think, fuck this. I don't want to go to some shitty team and be fired after a season, maybe 2, and it's not my fault because the teams are garbage. You know, Robert Saleh left for the Jets, and whilst I was very happy for him to get the head coaching gig, I'm worried that there's still, things above him aren't going to go his way, and he'll get fired in 2 seasons. And everyone knows he's a great defensive coordinator. The players love him and all that kind of thing. And when you got someone as good as that, it worries me, Dion, that he's going to then become the forgotten man. What do you think?
For me, I say it like this. This is how you navigate it. And I'll go back into the light in just a second. Start trying to make a little breakfast, I'll say this. This is why when you're interviewing for a head coaching job, what you do is you negotiate all that on the spot. If there's one thing that you must do in any type of job interview, if you're going in there and there are certain parameters that you need to work around, then what you need to do is you need to make sure that those things are known. You need to walk into any and every interview with a game plan. You need to look at the franchise and be able to tell them the hard truth. If I'm interviewing for the Detroit Lions job, you know what I'm going to tell them? Y'all ain't won a playoff game in almost 30 damn years. So if you guys are looking for me to come here and change that, then you have to allow me to do it. And you're going to have to give me time. I'm not coming in here and turning your franchise from shit to fucking gold in seconds. It's not going to happen. Now, of course, all these things are not said this way. It's going to be a lot more tactful. It's going to sound a lot better. But we just here talking shit on football. So for me, I'm walking into a meeting and saying, look, I understand where your franchise is. I understand where you want your franchise to go. The key and the goal is Super Bowls and lots of them. But it's going to take us time to build this team to get it where it needs to go. When you go for an interview for a team, you should know their weaknesses and their strengths. And you should be able to walk in there, lay that out on the table to an owner and the GM, if the GM already exists, and say, hey, we're going to need to work together to be able to make this team better. We're going to need to be able to keep butts in the seats. Because I can tell you right now, Jacksonville took some more asses out of the seats when they hired dumbass Trent Baalke. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all of these people out there that can get you that can give you a job. And I ain't just talking about African American. I'm talking about any goddamn body. A bum on the street could do a better job than Trent fucking Baalke. But at the end of the day, it's to me, it's a situation where you walk in, you have a game plan, you know what it is. And yes, you want a head coaching job just in general to be able to have the opportunity. Jim Caldwell never had a losing season and they fired his ass, which didn't make any fucking sense. But you know what? The Detroit Lions just had suck as a franchise. Now, if you don't want to go there, I get it. But at the end of the day, you walk in with a game plan for any team that you're interviewing. You know their strengths, their weaknesses, and you talk to that owner and that GM, and you tell them straight up, I need time. When you give me my contract, I need to be able to have it guaranteed for at least 3 out of the 4 or 5 years for me to be able to build this team and to be able to do the things the right way. You can't think I'm going to come in here and turn around everything in 1 year. But you have to be able to say that in a way that they'll understand it, and they'll look and go, okay, I'm going to have to trust this guy to be able to go ahead and take his word that he's going to take us to places we haven't been. Because if you're,
can I add something to that as well?
Oh yeah, go ahead, go right on ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add. I totally agree with what you're saying. I mean, if you look at the Browns as an example, you know, they haven't got anywhere until the last year or two, really the last year, until they get in alignment. So it's not just a case of getting the right head coach. You've got to be in alignment with your general manager, your owner, and all the rest of the staff, because only when an organisation is aligned totally together and picking the right players for how they want to play the game, are you going to really make any headway in terms of winning divisions, going postseason, getting deep in the playoffs, and the organisations, which you're quite right to point out, have got nowhere for decades, and that included the Browns. Is those who've just not been in alignment at all, and they just think that they can just hopefully pluck an inexperienced coach from another team and put him as their head coach, and that's all they need to do.
This brings up a really good point about, is it coach, is it quarterback? Now, obviously, we know Andy Reid, I think he's got his man there, but this is the big thing beginning of the season. I know Carl's going to be big on this. Everyone was, is it Bill, is it Brady? And I think this time round, I know, unfair on the Pats, they've had all their players that didn't want to play because of COVID, but I think you've got to look at it and ultimately say, okay, this time round, the evidence that we've got is on Brady. And now we're looking at Mahomes and Andy Reid. Everyone's saying Andy Reid's a genius. Yeah, he is. But again, he's got the best QB in the league now. So is it a matter of getting the house in order, or is it what me and Scott were just saying? If there's a QB out there, you fucking bring him in and you build your team around that QB. Because if you haven't got the QB, it don't matter how fucking good your coach is, you ain't winning shit.
Yeah, the QB.
It's a quarterback league. Quarterbacks win championships. Quarterbacks make good teams. Not coaches.
That's all well and good in theory.
Not cornerbacks, not linebackers. It's the quarterback.
I agree with you.
So
But what I'll say to your point is, you had Patrick Mahomes, and then you had Alex Smith already there. So you have to think about it. Mahomes, it literally took, and I feel like this is what happened. I'll say this, and I'll let Carl go. It literally took them watching Mahomes throw a goddamn bomb to say, all right, Alex, it's time for you to get the hell on. Because that's what he did. Mahomes came in almost on a Colin Kaepernick-like curve. And the reason I compare it is because that's what happened to Alex in San Francisco. Colin came in and he played so damn good. It was like
Jeff Reinbach, you say they knew that kid mentally and physically had it there. He wasn't just dropping bombs and it's like, here you go, kid, here's the reins.
Yeah.
People knew
they knew it. They knew it. So I give them credit. But for me, I'm just saying, yes, the quarterback does win the championships. But if you got a trash-ass head coach, if you do what you did to Alex Smith, where you put him through 6-7 different fucking coordinators, that quarterback's not going to amount to shit. You can put Patrick Mahomes, you can put Tom Brady, you can put Deshaun Watson, you can put Drew Brees, all of these great quarterbacks that you have out there. If you change their coordinator every year, they're going to suck. Because they're going to have to continually learn a new system. So while the quarterback wins the championships, the consistency in the front office and the consistency with the head coach and the system will allow that quarterback to complete that. If you want to go to a great thing, look at what we had. We had Bill Walsh, we had Carmen Policy, and we had Eddie D. And what did we do in the 80s? We were the team you just didn't want to play.
Yeah, and then you draft players around that quarterback strengths. You're absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And that's what you've been doing. Ivan's had that number one pick with Baker Mayfield, and everyone said that roster's sort of getting there, and they've been building. But like you said, it sounds like they finally cracked it with the coach, and everybody now is working.
Absolutely, and Baker's actually a very good example of what we're talking about here, because up until Stefanski, you had a perfectly good player, but the coaches and the way they were asking Baker to play the game were not his strengths. Stefanski comes in, Andrew Berry is general manager's in. Now they're building a team around Baker and his strengths. So all of a sudden, the Browns over the course of this season suddenly become a good team, with consistency, and will be a very good team next year as they build that roster and free agency around him.
John,
it's so
you've been a little bit quiet today. What's your take on building a team? Is it start at the quarterback position and you work your way up, or does it start further up the tree with that?
I mean, listen, I see it this way. Ivan, with Baker, Stefanski was the third coach going on. How many coordinators? Three coaches, 3 coordinators, and he still rose above it, right? So
this is his fourth season.
This is his 4th season, and it was questionable. I mean, the Browns were considering moving on from him next year if he didn't finish this year. Okay, so I mean, he rose above all that. I mean, there was quite a bit working against him. But I believe it's got to be 2 ways. I mean, Pete, you guys have had success under Tomlin for over a decade, right?
17 years.
Right. So San Francisco locks up a quarterback. Scott, we were 7 minutes away with our edge rusher, who I will never give up, and a serviceable quarterback that's competent enough if the O-line gives him protection. And Niner fans will destroy Garoppolo all day long. And it's more Niner fans than any other fan base that believe that he does not have what it takes to finish on the big stage. Okay, I mean, an offensive lineman failed miserably this year. Let Keenan Williams come through at 300+ pounds and takes out Garoppolo's ankle, which arguably was vicious because he twisted. As he went down with it, he twisted it. So Garoppolo's now been shit on because he's injury prone. Guy tore his ACL and had a bad ankle as a 49er. I don't want to hear this shit. I'm tired of hearing it. I believe that it takes a coach and a quarterback. But do I want to give up everything that the 49ers have sucked for? We sucked for years to get to where we are now. I'm not giving that up. I'm not going back into the gutter for 4 seasons, 5 seasons, 6 seasons because we gave up a generational edge rusher that, whether you agree or not, every quarterback in the league playing San Francisco did not want to face Nick Bosa. Bosa, as a Buckeye, was one of the most feared edge rushers in the game. Hence why he sacked everyone. And I mean, he found a way to sack you no matter what. Against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I'm telling you, even being held, he got to Patrick Mahomes. He gets to everyone. Ivan, he put Baker Mayfield upside down and planted him in the ground at the bottom of a pile. He broke a double coverage and still managed to trip up multiple quarterbacks all season long. I'm not giving up Nick Bosa and 2 first-rounders, a quarterback, a second-rounder, and, the fucking milk in the fridge. I'm not doing it. You can keep Mahomes. You can keep Watson, I'm sorry. And not for nothing, the dude just signed a $160 million contract in September. Why in all of God's green earth would we want to take on a $40 million cap hit next year? I think it's like 30 after that. And I don't know what part of that Houston has to come up with. So, I mean, with a cap that's going to fluctuate in the next 3 seasons, I don't think the 49ers are in any position to give up a first round edge rusher and 2 first rounders and Jimmy. I'm not doing it. I think it sucks because had we not had Jimmy, had we had Hoyer and a few others, I'd say let's do it. Let's give it up. But I mean, we've got a team that was a few minutes away from winning the Super Bowl. You know,
this is exactly what you're saying there. You already know that you're close. You know, you're teetering on the edge there, and you just need that serviceable QB. And a bit like the Steelers now, we're in a similar situation to the Niners. There are a few. Admittedly, your running game's better, but you just need that serviceable QB that can be reliable, and then you actually have got a shot at doing it without, like you say, maybe.
We've already got a serviceable QB, Pete.
And he's cheap. I mean, he's cheap. He's less than 40 million. He's cheap. We were close, man. We were close.
No, to be fair,
if Garoppolo stays fit and we didn't have the injuries we had this season, the Niners will be playing tomorrow to go back to the Super Bowl.
Without a
and
doubt.
that's that. And, you know, I don't want Deshaun Watson. I don't. I'm not mortgaging and getting rid of the pillar of our defense and fuck knows how many draft picks. What happens if we do the trade, or any team does it? Pete, the Steelers, they trade away all this shit. The first week, Watson tears his ACL. Your season's fucked because you've given up everything to get him. Everything. And now you're, oh shit, we've got to get our backup in there who could be, because obviously, let's, again, hypothetically, Big Ben's the backup to Deshaun Watson. We all saw what Big Ben did, and you know, it wasn't great. Any team who takes Deshaun Watson and he gets an ACL in the first game, that is your season.
I know what you're saying. You can't live your life like that, mate. You know, the potential you could get an injury, the next day you could walk out the house and be hit by a car. You can't. You've just got to roll with it. And if it happens, it happens. You can't live your life. If that was the case, Nick, no one would ever make a trade ever in the history of the sport if they're worried about making a trade and then getting an injury. I understand what you're saying, but
this is a mega trade.
Make a decision, mate. What I'm saying is you can't make a decision based on they could get an injury. You make the decision on whether he's right for the job and he can do the job, not all panic if he gets injured.
And if you trade for Deshaun Watson and he tears his ACL in the first game next year, then you still got him for the 12 years after that. That's 1 year.
But I mean, we give up so much just to get Watson that we eventually revert back to the
Niners. I mean, the Niners is not happening. I mean, that's possibly a bad example for the Niners because.
But it's not. It's not a bad example, Nick. It's realistic and it's scary because we gave up Buckner. So our organization, that front office, is not afraid to do a goddamn thing. They will move if they feel like they can make another. Listen, this season was a devastating blow to that organization. So this close, brother, this close to winning it all. And there are two fucking things in this fucking league. It's a ring and it's cash. And only one of those motherfuckers are guaranteed, right? So that goes for coaches, players, and the whole goddamn 9 yards. I'm not buying none of this shit that a team should give up a first-round edge rusher that's a generational talent. And that dude's going to come back strong because he's got fucking NFL pedigree. Comes from a strong family. He's got work ethic out the asshole. I've never seen anybody work harder to come back from something so bad. And I mean, look, everybody's come back from an ACL. So be it. Come back.
The difference with you, obviously, you've got both there. You've got one edge rusher. The difference with the Steelers is we've still got TJ Watt if we get rid of Bud Dupree, who's there available as potentially a free agent. So we've got some trade bait with someone like that. And like you say, to try and trade for a QB in today, you know, it's a risky gamble. So if we had someone like Bud Dupree, Juju on the contract and a couple of picks, I don't think for the Steelers side it isn't as bad because, you know, like I say, we've still got players there. But I don't know.
All jokes aside,
of course, it's a great conversation, lads. It's a great chat.
Pete, you guys have a coach. You got a coach. You got a good defense. You got a good offensive line.
Well, the offensive coach, that's what we need. We need to find out who we bring because that could be, you know, that could change everything depending on who we bring in on the offensive.
Jackson.
Randy Fittner is your problem. That dude is fucking garbage.
He's gone.
Garbage.
He's gone. You're losing Pouncey too. Pouncey is gone as well.
I think
there's plenty going, man.
Pouncey's old, man.
I
Pouncey's
think
old,
Ben
no?
Roethlisberger throwing the ball to the other team all the time was a bigger problem than the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's owed $40 million. Am I wrong, Pete?
That's what Ben Roethlisberger's done.
Yeah,
his entire
40 million.
When he plays great,
40
he's the man, and I'm the best ever. And when he plays bad, it's the offensive coordinator. It's I'm hurt. It's this.
Yeah, but Scott,
he's
that
always got
coordinator
an
was
excuse.
trash.
And he's at
That-
the end of
they
his
had-
career.
They
If
had
you watched
no.
him this season, he was not good.
Well,
68
John,
throws against the Browns.
John, Randy's gone now. So Randy's gone, John. So who do we bring in? What do we do? What do we do now? Now Randy's gone. What do we do?
You need somebody that's going to bring the Steelers organization to a modern offensive scheme. That Fittner shit was going back to the 80s. They were playing football. They were not crafty. There were no trick plays. The Steelers were a north and south team, and they can't run the fucking ball.
No.
So they need a run game. You need a running backs coach. You need a modern day coordinator that's going to bring something crafty to that team. And you might get something practical out of Haskins. This year, 2021 is going to be a 50-50 chance with the Steelers. Ben is owed too much money. I do not see them paying Ben $40 million with a fucked up cap. I don't see it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't want to pay Jimmy $20-some million, but you're going to pay Ben. Ben looked like hot shit.
I mean, how does it work, though, guys?
Deion says.
I mean, if that contract is guaranteed, how does it work? I mean, I guess they've got no choice. The guy's got to get paid. It's going to come out the cap. There's not a lot you can do about it.
They're going to pay him while he's sitting at the park nursing a fucking twisted ankle. He's going to be sitting at home. They're going to be paying that dude for years to come outside of a Steelers jersey, and he ain't playing anywhere else.
I mean, it's a very similar situation to Carson Wentz, isn't it? I mean, the guy's going to have a shitload of money, but it's whether they play him or not play him. And
but he's young. He's young and youthful enough to where somebody will get something out of him. Ben's going to be a coach. Ben might be a quarterback's coach for the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? They're going to figure out a way to pay that dude, but it ain't going to be $40 million against the cap.
So what do we think, guys? Does Ben start next year or what?
No way.
Yeah,
If he starts next year, you're right off the 2021 season.
Yeah, he starts next year. You just don't have another viable option.
I mean, I think Haskins could get you something. I mean, Haskins can do better than he did at the stretch. I think so. You protect.
There's a lot of problems there, though.
Got the weapons to catch the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems there.
Ben starts, and I'll tell you why I hope Ben starts. Because I get really bad insomnia, and if I watch that offense, it sends me to sleep. They are fucking awful. And Pete and I spoke about this at work when Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came in. How different did the Steelers look on offense?
Well, this was the annoying thing, Nick, is the whole offense changed with him playing at QB. And it's like, well, why are we changing it to him?
Yeah, but it was still the same offensive coordinator, which would. Scott, do you think that Big Ben was the issue and it wasn't so much the offensive coordinator? Because obviously we all saw that difference, right? When he came in, it was against Cleveland, wasn't it? I think
it was, yeah.
And
last game of the season.
Totally different team with Rudolph in there. So, and you still had Fittner calling the plays, right, Pete? He was still the coordinator.
But Rudolph's not any better than Ben.
But what I'm saying is, Scott, it was a different team, and they looked a lot better with Rudolph.
What happens if someone like Matt Stafford becomes available at a cheaper price than Watson, and all of a sudden you can make a trade for someone like Stafford? Because I heard he's obviously he's unsettled there, isn't he? And obviously, am I right, Carl, in thinking Matt Patricia's gone back to you guys as well, hasn't he now? So
he has. He's not come back as defensive coordinator. Thank fuck. He has come back. He has come back as an assistant coach. So it's going to be like conditioning. Coach type things, working on projects type of thing. So it's a little away from the scenes.
Just run out
basically.
Run out of pencil cases. So you needed.
Yeah, he's run out. He's run out of pencil cases. Yeah.
Is probably more
I mean,
efficient.
I mean, his term in Detroit.
Available,
I mean, his term in Detroit was pretty much a disaster. Really, I think the only thing they had to scream and shout about was they beat New England in their version of the Super Bowl a few years back. That was basically about it. But yeah, Patricia coming back. I mean, needs to go back to basics. So yeah.
What about someone like who was I going to sort of mention? Someone like Jameis Winston, fella. Now, Scott, Jameis Winston sitting there, not getting played, but that guy you saw at Tampa, all right, he made some mistakes, but he can make some fucking plays as well. I mean, is that someone there that we should be taking a look at, or someone should be taking a punt on?
Jameis, he turns the ball over too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you throw 4 touchdowns a game, if you're throwing 5 interceptions and giving the ball to the other team constantly.
I bear witness Jameis Winston throwing 4 interceptions and a fumble when I went to go watch him versus the Panthers at Tottenham's ground. I think it was a couple of years ago now. I looked at my cousin, who's also 49er, so I'm thinking, what the fuck are we witnessing? The first snap, interception. I was like, this is going to be a long game, isn't it?
I mean, last year with Tampa Bay, he had, 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions or something?
Right.
There's a new reason for being 30 for 30.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? That's great for fantasy football. That's not good enough in real football.
But does that not need work, though, with the right coach? I mean, like I say, can you not iron that out of the kid?
Well, he's under Sean Payton. I know he's probably one of the most overrated coaches. He has worked better under Payton, but it's just on the game. What we've only seen snippets of him play under center for Sean Payton this season, so it's hard to say has he really changed. I actually think Sean Payton's going to keep Winston. I was going to keep him for a year and see what happens because they are in cap hell right now. I think there's something like $105 million over the cap.
Who?
Saints.
Right. Yeah, the Saints are in the worst.
They're going to have to give up something, and Michael Thomas might be something that they shop because they're not getting much out of him. And
he was injured all season. He was injured mostly all season.
He was, but I mean, he's still just a slant guy. I mean, if you want to pay, $100 million to a guy that's just going to run slants and give you production, I guess. But I mean, almost any youthful wide receiver could do that shit. Pete, you guys could use Minka as a moving part. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, the Steelers have to do something to get aggressive in free agency. That's their only hope.
I mean, Minka was certainly not the player that he was the previous season, that's for sure. But I don't know whether that was just because people weren't sort of going deep and sort of hitting. I mean, apart from the Browns game where he had that pick 6, which I'm sure Ivan remembers really well in the first game. But other than that, Minka's not really sort of done.
I blanked that one, actually. I've got a comment to make on the Steelers, if I can, and I'll be a polite one. So the Steelers have had Big Ben for a long while. They're a classic organisation. I'd agree with a lot of what John said. It's a classic organisation where you've got a very good quarterback over many, many years. And really, they should have been competing. I mean, how many Super Bowls has Tomlin won? Is it just the one?
He's won 2.
He's 2, is he? Okay, so that's not a bad return at all for someone where you got a really good quarterback. John's point, I totally agree with it. Is that, or was it Scott? Or probably all of you've made it. Is that the Steelers have been playing a style of football which really isn't modern. The reason they haven't done very well recently is because their coaching has been too old. They haven't got up to date. They're picking slow players, and the modern teams are picking fast DBs, and that's how they play their style of football. And the Steelers haven't really been doing that. And so now they've got to a point where Big Ben's his time has run out and has been running out for a while, and they've missed the opportunity to try and get a good young backup. And they've gone, and that's partly Big Ben's fault as well, because he hasn't been wanting anyone playing backup with him because he's been throwing a strop every time
interesting you say, Ivan, because you listen to some of the Steelers podcasts, and the Steelers way does seem to be the Steelers way. They're very stuck, regimental with what they do, who they pick, what they do, what they don't do in free agency, on contracts.
Yeah.
They're not very open to changing, and maybe that is something that they do need to do. But watching them for the last couple of seasons, exactly what you said there. All I've been doing is screaming out for a mobile quarterback. When you see some of these games and some of these players, how they extend plays, when it's needed to get that third down when you need it. To get that first down when you need it. To just sort of keep things going, keep the offense on the field. And you look at Benny Snell and James Conner, neither of them are fast backs. You see some of these players now, Delvin Cook, Kamara, they're just absolute lightning quick. Now, these guys, they must be out there. I mean, look at, he's picked up Edwards-Helaire and the 32nd pick. They're out there, but the Steelers just don't seem to want to sort of go and do it. But, maybe this is the year. Maybe
you have to get someone like Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. You have to.
Just something. Because
the thing is, the Steelers, they have to change their style of football, or they're going to be consistently not getting into postseason. Yeah, and they're not doing it. But that also, I think, is partly down to Tomlin. I know Tomlin's been a very good coach, but at some point, like the Bengals head coach, he did very well for a while, and all of a sudden, he's out of date, and Tomlin is getting that way himself.
I think Ben
the Bengals have never been good. If you're talking about Marvin Lewis, the Bengals have never been good. It's interesting because obviously I've been listening what you said, Pete. There's got to be a whole philosophy change with the Steelers. There's got to be.
Culture.
Need a running game that will complement the passing game. Whoever the quarterback is, you can't rely on who you've got there at the moment with the backs, because everybody knows, and the weirdest thing and the funniest thing, right, with the Steelers is the run game is shit, but they still play action pass. They're not going to run the ball. Why the fuck do you go play action?
Yes.
Seriously.
They sell shit. They can't disguise anything. They need a competent quarterback, a running backs coach. Snell and Connor cannot do, they don't cut. They don't juke. They just, I'm running the fucking ball. If the hole is there, I'll take it. If not.
John, you see Connor get to the second level and you see other guys just take off. You see Connor get to the second level and he's got fucking defensive linemen chasing him down. The guy has not got speed.
Not at all. They don't have a.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell Pete. I mean, to find a running back in today's free agency, you just got to be willing to give up shit. And the Steelers' pride aside, they're a prime organization with 6 trophies. They wanted Ben to get healthy in the offseason, get some surgeries, and make himself available for the final few years on his contract. The reason why they were so successful in the first 11 weeks of football was because Ben was fixed. I mean, he was getting rid of the ball. The receivers were on fire. After that, though, Ben just dove right down into the ground. I mean, he got lethargic, slow. I call him Lurch, running around here like Lurch. He can't move worth the shit. 30 pounds later, you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know it. So they got to move on from a quarterback. They got to find a running backs coach. They got to find a running back in free agency. They've got to figure out, how do we retain that season with these working parts? Because that shit ain't gonna fucking fly.
I'm not convinced Tomlin's the right man any longer either. But I mean,
I disagree, Ivan. I believe he really is still the guy.
Here's the thing: Mike Tomlin's never had an under 500 record at all in his career at the Steelers. Ever. I'm
not picking on. I'm saying he's not been a good coach. He's been a very good coach. What I'm saying is, he's at this moment in time, I think he's been in the NFL too long, and I think he's not flexible enough. And I don't think under him the Steelers are going to transgress into a modern style football.
Turning to this to soccer for a minute, hang on. Now, whenever managers get sacked in soccer, you always get the usual suspects that are going to be managed, like Sam Allardyce, Neil Warnock, etc.
Tony Pulis and all that sort of shit. Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
That turned a circle now. The young coaches
someone's gonna steady the ship, and someone with a strong mentality. It's basically what we want.
Keep you in the division you're in,
and keep you in this division to survive. Yeah.
Nick, have you sent Dion another message to come in? Oh, there he is. Sweet.
Do you think, Pete, that and no one can dispute Tomlin, right? No one can dispute Tomlin as a coach, but is he stuck in his ways? Is he still? Will he change? Because change.
If you listen to you listen to people, Nick. He is well loved. He is. People say he's still a great coach. I haven't heard anybody saying that he's done as coaching. That the guy is still a genius. I think he's still an absolute genius when it comes to coaching.
Well, I don't.
Not with the game clock, but yeah.
No. But also,
are Pittsburgh right next season? Let's look forward to all our teams next year, and we'll go round the horn. Pete, if they stick with the same plan of trying to run it, let's just say they don't get a running back. They go still with Snell and Connor, etc., etc. It sticks to that plan. What do you think will be the Steelers' record next year? Let's say they bring all the players back.
I don't want to see that.
Right. So
if I see that again, I'm going to be horrified because I say it is. We're going to get left in the dust by Cleveland and the Ravens. I cannot handle seeing that again. Something's got to change. There's got to be progression. It's going to be real difficult. It's going to be a really difficult year for the Steelers, and I just hope that they can still be in the hunt come playoff time and that, because I think it's going to be a real tricky season for them. But if I see someone like Haskins in there growing the offense and a run game going, and all of a sudden we go and smash teams by 20 points and in other ones we just lose, I'll be happy with that. But I can't watch this offense any longer. It's fucking stagnant.
Yep.
Okay, over under Haskins starts in week 7. Over under.
It's too early to talk Haskins, mate. Haskins might not even, it's
all
too
right.
Early.
Okay. Another quarterback, whoever, another quarterback, doesn't matter who it is. Over under week 7. Ben gets his arse on the bench. What are you saying?
I don't know if he makes 7 games.
I don't fucking see him there.
Bold. That's bold. Patriots. Deflategate. Merchants. Brighton have just gone 2-1 up, thank God, because they were.
You see the Zuma's goal, the first goal. What an absolute huge.
Yeah, okay. Quality. Now
we still go on.
Before you go,
well, that was terrible.
Cam Newton wasn't the answer.
No, he wasn't.
Are they bringing him back? Are they drafting? Now, Belichick has got some very important decisions, and obviously Robert Kraft in this offseason, because this franchise could go the way of the Jets, with the greatest respect, if they don't make the right decisions now. Even with those players coming back on defense, Brian Hoyer's not going to do it. You don't really have a run game. What do you?
About a lot more of a running game than the Steelers have. I'll give you that. But
Patriots have got a great running game.
we had one of the top 5 running games in the league.
Yeah.
Not the best, but top 5.
Least of your worries.
I'd snap his arm off for that fucking run game with the Steelers. I can assure you of that.
I tell you what, right now, if you gave us if you gave us a 4th, 5th round, if you gave us a 3rd round pick, we'll give you Damian Harris. Then your running game will get better because that boy is explosive.
I'd rather have Anita Harris, and that's one for the team.
Continue, Nick.
Google it. Sorry, Carl, cut you off.
Go on.
This is one of the intriguing things of this off-season for me. Your team. I mean, the Browns are pretty much set. Steelers, we don't know about. We obviously know where the Niners are going to go next year with everyone being fit. Same as the Chiefs will still be the Chiefs. The 2 teams are the Steelers and obviously the Patriots. Can you see a way out of this hole that is going to make you have some optimism? Or is the changing of the guard taking place as we see it?
I don't know what the situation regarding of Cam Newton is. Nothing's been said, whether he's staying, whether we're releasing him. Nothing's been said. All what's mostly apparent. Okay, Scott's already said it. He's leaving. Bye-bye. The last 2 years, we've suffered the same problems over and over again. It's the lack of weapons or how putrid the weapons have been. I mean, when we got Damiere Byrd last year, we didn't pick someone up who was actually just going to spark this offense. We got someone, as a stopgap. He was the wide receiver 4 for Arizona and for Kyler Murray. That's who we pick up to help Julian Edelman and James White out. That's not that's not what we need. With free agency this year, we have to make splashes. We've got the 4th most cap in the league, so we have to go out and get some weapons. I don't think we're going to get someone like an Allen Robinson or a Kenny Golladay. I don't think we're going to get someone like that. What I'd like to see though is to get someone like a Corey Davis in there, a Will Fuller in there, and if we could try and get another tight end in there, go and get the best one available, and that is Hunter Henry. Bill Belichick had a very, very lengthy conversation with Hunter Henry after that Chargers shutout game. So maybe there's something in the weeds with that. But with the quarterback situation, if Newton stays, we will end up drafting a quarterback. I can't see. We have to make succession plans now, unless we're going to somehow go and get Jimmy Garoppolo back from the San Francisco 49ers, which, well, from what I'm heard from John now, I don't personally think now that will happen. So it's either we're going to go and grab Mac Jones at 15, or we're going to trade up and get someone higher. And the only 2 people, I think, Lawrence and Fields, they'll be gone. I personally think there's only 1 or 2 that I would go for that highly, and that's Zach Wilson or Trey Lance.
But do you think the New England fans would be happy with them drafting a rookie? And obviously, Belichick's system is quite difficult to learn, kind of like
it is complex. It's quite complex. Yeah.
It's a big step, and again with the Niners. That saying, Jimmy G's gone, he's this, he's that, they're going to pick up a QB. It's a big risk. Year 1, rookie coming in and implementing that system. And I think you can say for any of the guys that we've got on here now, systems are very, very difficult. Baker Mayfield, for instance, is his second year, Ivan, or third?
Fourth.
Or third year.
Now he's grasping, he's doing well with it. I mean, where do you see Cleveland? What's your thing that you think Cleveland need to do in the draft or free agency to get you over that hump to beat the likes of Kansas and things like that?
Oh, I think it's very clear.
28-point head start in every game. That'll work.
Well, no, I think it's very clear. The Browns are going to put everything into defensive backs and defensive end. They need another defensive end. We need cornerbacks, safeties, and that team is and we need a fast wide receiver. That's what's happening. Landry's probably going to get. My guess is Landry's going to get cut because he's got 14 million. The cap is coming down 20 million. I don't want Landry to go before, just to say, but he's got a 14 million contract, and we need a fast wide receiver. So either we bring in someone really cheap or get someone off the draft. But at the moment, the reason the Browns are able to get beaten very easily on offense, or have been, is because you're playing lots of tight ends. And you've got Landry, who's effectively a slot wide receiver. And so you've got all these players in the middle of the pitch, and you've got no one stretching the pitch. So, fast teams like the Chiefs can bring all their nice, speedy defensive backs up and can just stop the Browns running and can stop the Browns throwing. So what the Browns need to do is have speed, particularly on defense now. So lots of cornerbacks, lots of safeties, another defensive end. My guess is, you got essentially the Browns are going to put all their money on Garrett, Baker, and Ward. That's where their money's going in terms of long-term security. So they're going to get lots of these fast defensive backs and be a much better team next year if they do. And I have every faith that Berry and Stefanski are going to draft well and pick the right people that we need in free agency. Which is likely to be a cornerback, could be a free safety. I'm guessing a cornerback, and we're going to go much further now. Just like the Steelers have got, we've got a much tougher schedule next year than we've had this year. So we're not going to be winning. Well, I doubt we'll be winning 11 games. It's possible, but when you're going away to places like the Chiefs and it's a much tougher schedule.
Ivan, how much of a difference it made this year having them two running backs to Baker Mayfield? The only reason I'm asking you that is because at the end of the day, I'm going to flip it here onto the Steelers. Okay, we did end up winning a division. We've gone 12-4 with no run game. If the Steelers could somehow create a run game next year and keep Big Ben there, and Big Ben just gets a little bit better because the run game improves. Are we underestimating the Steelers here? Is the biggest thing not changing the quarterback? Is it getting a run game to be able to create more?
The Steelers have got and always have had, excellent wide receivers. That's one of their traditional strengths. Is their wide receivers.
This year has been absolutely unbelievable. And
so you've got phenomenal wide receivers, but as John has been pointing out a number of times, the problem with the Steelers is not just the fact that you haven't had a running game. The reason you haven't had a running game is because the coaches haven't made that a strength. So they need to sort their coaching out, and they've got lots of good players. But the other problem with the Steelers is, you're well over cap. You've got lots of free agents going to be leaving because you're well over cap. So there's a lot of building likely to be done next year. Can
you maybe Scott, Dion, John, perhaps you could sort of fill me in because, like I say, my knowledge of the sort of trade side and the contract side is non-existent. If we've got players that are running out of contract, we can still trade them before the contracts run out. So we've still got something to play with, right? I mean, they don't just disappear and we lose out on everything. I'm guessing we can make a trade before they walk. Is that right? And actually,
you can if they're unrestricted free agents. You can if they're unrestricted free agents. If they're UDFAs, they can go wherever they want. If they're restricted free agents, then yes. If they're exclusive rights free agents, then yes. But if they're unrestricted free agents and they've had enough tenure in the NFL, which I believe is about at least 3 to 4 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. I believe that's about the time frame, 3 to 4 years. I think Carl would know that too.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 years.
Yeah,
4 years and you're unrestricted. 4 years you're unrestricted. Jack Prescott's on his 4th year, so he's unrestricted.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me,
You
that's how that works. For me, what I'm looking at, Hellhound, I like everything you said except about Mr. Landry, and here's why. I'd rather you guys cut Odell Beckham Jr. than to let go of Jarvis Landry.
go.
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry has had the surest hands in the NFL since he brought his ass on a goddamn field. He
I
had
think
great hands when he was in Miami. He still has great hands in Cleveland. Now I understand he's not fast. He does not possess the speed that OBJ does. But here's the thing: OBJ is a way more attractive trade bait, and you'll get more for him. Plus, he's not even being utilized. He always either gets injured or something's wrong. So I'm saying from a GM standpoint, you put your GM hat on, you know you're going to get more for Odell Beckham Jr. He's a more attractive piece. He's a PR must. Like, they're going to want him. Fans are going to want to come running into the stands and going there and saying, man, we got OBJ. You know, they're going to think back to when he made that ridiculous catch on sport. That's where I'm going with that.
He's very underrated, and he hasn't got the speed, but he does run brilliant routes, and he gets open.
Brilliant.
Kind of like
Nick,
Yeah,
but I've got to shoot off. I'm going to let you guys carry on. It's good to see you again, Scott. Enjoy the AFC Championship game, mate. I hope you come away with a W. Don't want the Bills winning, so go Chiefs. Ivan, good to see you again, mate. Good season, Carl. Good to see you again, Dion, John.
Of course.
Boys. Nick, I'll see you at work Monday. Enjoy your weekend, fellas.
All right, take it easy, Pete. Good to see you back.
All right.
Glad you're back, buddy.
On that note, guys, really quick, I do have to go. Got to help my little sister move. Good to see everybody. Carl, Pete, Scott. Yeah, Scott's like, dang, man, everybody dropping like flies. But
So you got to go help someone move, man. That's
actually, I don't have to do much. All I'm doing is breaking down her bed for her and breaking down my niece's hired movers. So fortunately, I don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. But appreciate y'all for bringing me on the show. Nick, nothing but love. Carl, Hellhound.
See you, Dion.
Take it easy, Dion.
Love it, man. And good. I'm gonna tell you. I'll say this last thing. Good luck to you in the AFC Championship game. But the Bills are gonna kick your ass.
Just like the Browns, right?
Hey, look. Okay. Damn, yeah, I ain't got no comeback for that one. You got me, Mr. Rogers. You got me. I have no comeback for that. You shut me down on that.
It's hard. It's so hard being a fucking Chiefs fan, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. You know, winning the Super Bowl, feeling like you're right back on the cusp of winning another one. You'll be the only team to repeat since the Patriots. Yeah. But,
well, we still got ways to go till then. So, but yeah.
Hey, y'all have a good day, man. Peace.
Dion, love you. Take care, man.
Love you, brother.
See you, Dion. Can I clarify my Landry comment?
Yes, go ahead.
What I wasn't saying is that they should cut him. What I'm saying is the Browns at the moment have invested in a lot of tight ends. So, you know, we've got 3 or 4 tight ends, all of which are good. The organisation seems to want tight ends. Now, Landry is in a position where he's playing effectively in the tight end, part of the field. So you're going to have it effectively is another tight end. So either we're going to have to cut a tight end or two, or we cut Landry. I'm guessing, and it's purely a guess. I'm guessing that our GM is going to be saying, well, look, he's got an expensive contract. So if we're going to save money for a cap and invest it in where we need it to be, which is, cornerbacks and a defensive end, it's quite a strong possibility that he might get cut.
But didn't Njoku want out last year?
He did, but then they picked up on his 5th-year option. So, I think, if you're talking about potential trade value, Njoku's got potential trade value because he's had a good year. He had an excellent game against the Chiefs. I think, in fact, he was our best offensive performer in that game. So he's got good trade value. So he could be someone we could trade and keep Landry. it'd be just interesting to see.
I don't
Personally,
I don't
I
think
would.
that-
Sorry, Scott. Go on,
Oh, no.
carry on.
I don't think Landry would be that hard to replace, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had him on my fantasy teams, and you can replace his 12 catches for 36 yards with somebody else that can catch 2 20-yard passes.
With a lot less money. With a lot less
Yep.
money. Yeah.
Landry's a fine player. I'm not trying to disrespect Jarvis Landry, but he's just the guy. He can get open, but once he catches the ball, he's going down, and he doesn't stretch the field. He doesn't threaten people deep. I think you can replace him a lot easier than a lot of people think.
You can. I agree.
Well, there you go. That means he's going to turn up at the Patriots next season.
Or the Steelers.
Actually, to be fair, going to the Patriots, I would send the 4th rounder to the Browns for the Joku.
You get it too.
I would.
I bet you
And we'll
would.
get it too. We'll get it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hey,
the joke,
Ivan,
he catches the ball, but again, a bit like Landry, there's not that explosion. It's not a George Kittle. It's not Travis Kelce, because they.
Yeah, but they're one-offs, aren't they?
Well, you
They
say
are
that,
talents.
Yeah.
They're talents in their
say that,
units.
but certain people want contact after they caught it, right? Kittle's one, Kelsey's another, Ayuk. Who's that other one? Who's the other one, John?
AJ Brown. Shit, we
There's
can go
a lot.
around the horn. There's lots of guys that love that
They,
shit.
they want that
Brown's good.
contact, and half the time, the catching of the ball isn't the main thing of their play because they want to smack some motherfucker, and that is a football player. And I know we've had this Kelsey and we've had Kittle debates, and that's why I love Scott coming on here, because he still thinks Kelsey's better than Kittle, but that's another story. We'll see next year because Kittle's going to be healthy. That's, those
You know
two
something, Ivan?
are- Go on, carry
Let
on.
me tell you real quick. You know, you guys are thirsty for a secondary. There's no doubt about it. Okay. But don't forget, you have Grant Delpit coming back. Grant Delpit was last year's draft one of the most highly anticipated corners in the game.
Absolutely. Phenomenal player. We really missed him this year.
Yeah, he could have been a difference maker alone in many of the games this year. So rest assured that you've got Grant Delpit, you've got Njoku, and you have Landry that you need to make decisions on, because there's guys like T. Higgins from Cincinnati. You got Peoples Jones.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Phenomenal
Peoples Jones,
player.
I would keep him. I mean, and I put out on Twitter, I don't know, a day or two ago, you know, one of the things we could do, because you got Delpit coming back, if we try to trade for Simmons from the Broncos, for instance, you got
Free agency.
you got
Simmons is free agency.
Yeah, so you got Simmons, Delpit, and Harrison as safeties for the Browns, and then you put your time and effort into cornerbacks, you know, in the draft. Then you've got a really improved secondary for the Browns.
You do. I mean, San Francisco has no corners going into the 2021 season. We are unloading all of them. Corners, you got Jaquiski Tart, that's going to be arguably a step up from everyone you have in the safety position. So there's a lot of options in free agency. Don't focus on the draft right now, because although there are some corners in the draft where you're drafting, I don't think you're going to get them. There's secondaries out there that are going to upgrade. The Browns need to focus on moving Odell Beckham, considering the moving Landry and Njoku alone. Those three players will generate
you get a lot for them. Yeah.
a lot. You get a lot for them. You can upgrade at a 4.3 speed. You need 4.3 speed if you're in the division with Tyreek Hill. You guys need corners that can keep up with that kind of speed. Or you need a big body receiver like Metcalf that will drag the secondary 7 yards. I mean, That seems to be where teams want to go. Bigger bodies rather than speed, because some of the speed, like Landry, once he gets hit, there's no telling if he'll hold on to the ball or not.
He's no yards after contact at all, virtually, no.
None.
Just out of interest, Ivan, what was People Jones's stats this year? Because the games I watched, he had a couple of catches and made some crucial catches, but I didn't really see a lot other than that. And admittedly, I didn't watch all of the Browns games, but obviously I like to every week either do games in 40 or highlights, and he wasn't appearing a lot in either of those. But when I saw like the Steelers games and like the last few weeks, he was quite highlighting it. Did he have a big season this year?
Well, you've got to bear in mind it's his rookie year. You know, he's come from Michigan, which he didn't. Well, he didn't live up to his potential there. So you know,
Wolverine fan, John.
You know, the reason the Browns got him was because he kept falling down the draft. So at some point they thought, well, he's still here, we'll have him. And he's had, I would say, he's had a good season. I would like to see him a bit more because he stretches the field, you know. And as I said, you know, already on the show, is the problem with the Browns' offense is there, and when you get later into the postseason, you know, the good teams can just cater for your offense if you're 2-1 tracked. Is that we're all in the middle of the field. We haven't stretched anyone, and Peoples Jones stretches the field. So it would have been nice to see him on for longer, but you know, he's a rookie, so they're obviously just developing him, and you know, but that's what the Browns need on offense. Is we need, as John says, we need someone who's going to be bigger bodied, you know, Chase Claypool type, or you know, someone who's going to be bigger bodied that is simply going to muscle the ball off people if you throw it to him. You know, if someone goes man to man on Chase Claypool, you know, throw the ball to him. So there's a good chance he's going to get it. That's what the Browns need. And then our tight ends and our running backs are going to make a difference again, because we've got a full game that we can use. So, you know, and I'm sure we'll get that player either in free agency or in the draft.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you know, we talk about needs and stuff. I mean, Scott, what would you say, bearing in mind how fucking good that bloody Kansas City Chiefs team is? What is their one need they need with the 32nd pick? Because let's be honest, they're probably going to win the fucking Super Bowl. They're going to be another Patriots. We're all going to get bored. But what would you say? What is your biggest need in the draft? What would you say? Because I'm interested, because we all know how good Kansas City are. What's the need?
It's kind of hard to tell. The linebacker position is probably their weakest position group on the team. They drafted Willie Gay from Mississippi State, I believe, or maybe he was Ole Miss. He's been working and getting more reps as the season's gone on, but they've got some guys there that are just guys.
But Scott, you don't need a linebacker, do you? Isn't the Kansas style play? You know, defensive backs, speedy defensive backs. You don't want linebackers; they're clunky.
Right. I mean, I'm just thinking as far as the weakest position group goes.
Right.
And it's hard to tell because the offensive line had so many injuries this year, and they kind of had to patch it together. But they've kind of had problems protecting Patrick Mahomes this year. And again, they've had a patchwork line. So maybe if they get some guys back, some starters back. So yeah, I don't know that would always help to have another corner maybe. Although they've got the DeAndre Baker, who got injured in that meaningless fucking game against the Chargers. He was a first-round pick by the Jets. that was pretty highly touted player coming out of college that had some issues, some legal things, and he got kicked off of the Jets, and then he ended up on the Chiefs. So maybe if he can come back healthy next year, maybe that helps shore up one of those positions. But and it never hurts to have more playmakers. That's their offense. Maybe have someone to go. I think McCole Hardman has been maybe somewhat of a disappointment. I think they expected maybe to get more out of him as a early pick a couple years ago. So maybe they look there. But yeah, I mean they're just in this fortunate position to where they don't have any glaring needs, so they can kind of be picky and choosy and look and see what's available when it's their turn to pick, and maybe take somebody that's just the best player on the board, or they can maybe even trade out, gather some more picks, work on some depth at some of those positions. But I would say maybe offensive line or linebacker, but that's nitpicking at that point.
It's interesting you say that about obviously the offensive line, because there hasn't been a big emphasis on no-look passes and Mahomes doing this and he's fucking throwing it behind his back and he's fucking doing roly-polies and then throwing it. So maybe the offensive line is the thing you need to upgrade to let him be able to do that, because you haven't seen that this year, right? It's not just me. You haven't seen Mahomes doing all this flashy shit. He's just been dropping back 10, 15 yards, throwing it, bombs. You haven't seen I'm not going to throw it. I'm doing the underhand shit. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing underhand shit.
Yeah.
See, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
John, do you think that he's not doing all that flashy shit this year, right?
I mean, look, they've been getting pressure on him on the edge, so he doesn't really have time. I mean, look, the only way you're going to stop Patrick Mahomes is if you can contain him and force him to make a throw that, whether anybody admits it or not, that he may or may not make. I mean, this guy is one of the rare quarterbacks in the league right now. Outside of Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes, they connect on 30-yard, 30, 35, 40-yard bombs. I mean, I personally am not a fan of long ball, deep balls. I don't like it. I think that it equates similar to a poor percentage shot in a basketball game. So I don't like it unless like you're Steph Curry and you can make these half court shots. Like Patrick Mahomes can drop the dime in the end zone. But make no mistake, dude, that target gets bigger and bigger on your team's back. So it's going to get harder for him to make those throws, especially if they repeat. Teams are going to formulate. They're going to stop covering the middle third of the field and just stack the end zone and shut down, make Patrick Mahomes run, make him make the short pass. And they will. They'll be successful regardless of how the fuck they move the ball. So it really doesn't make a difference. Most of the time, when he throws the ball, everybody else sucks. Everybody's fucking missing coverage and then they're blowing coverages on it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm more concerned about Patrick Mahomes tomorrow. Did you hurt your fucking foot so bad that you needed to sell that stupid ass fucking tackle as a head injury because your foot was fucked and you don't want to fucking further injure it? That'd be the smart move. Let's take the concussion out of it. If I'm going to make it to the AFC Championship and go back to the Super Bowl, the last thing I need to fucking do is turn a foot injury into something worse. Now, knowing that Henny is serviceable and competent enough to do what he did, and he did. So they had they held nothing back. They let him throw the long ball. They let him run the ball. They let him gamble with the rock in a very close fucking game. So they're not afraid of Henny, and they'll let him work. So I don't know. I really don't know, Nick. I think honestly, that foot injury may have been worse, and they sold that head injury as a reason to get him off the fucking field. What do you think, Scott? You think
Before I let
it was
Scott
smart
come in, before I let Scott answer that, before you joined, John, I was saying I've watched that concussion thing.
I heard
10,
it. I heard
15 times. There's no fucking way. There's no way that was a concussion.
I mean, you
turf toe
can
thing.
Nick, they bent his neck.
There was
His
no
neck-
way.
I mean, his neck was literally. I mean, dude, his head was parallel with his shoulder. At what point do you cut off some blood and some oxygen to the brain? They not only did they bring his head down, but they held it there until they rolled him to his side. I mean, one could argue that you may have pinched a nerve and hurt yourself. You might have had a neck injury that you want to sell off as a concussion. I don't care how you cut it. His foot was far more concerning to the Kansas City Chiefs than that hit.
I mean, as you heard me say, that definitely a Spock Vulcan death grip tackle.
Yes, it was.
And
it was definitely.
There's no way if he was really concussed, he wouldn't be playing tomorrow.
He could have been dizzy.
You are. But forget that. Like when he dislocated his knee and it was fucking round the other way and all that. He came back in 2 weeks and everyone was like, "Fucking hell." Scott,
he's young.
Talk us out.
Young.
But Scott,
Well,
seriously,
John
come on.
John
That
makes a
was
good point.
not concussion.
John makes a good point about being young and being able to come back from injury a lot faster. I'm figuring that out, but no, yeah, I don't. Anytime you get tackled and you go down and you go to stand back up and your legs give out and guys have to catch you from falling back onto the ground, you're out of the game at that point. With all the shit that went on with the concussions and with, you know, and rightfully so, the mistreatment of the players and, you know, forcing guys to go back in when they had concussions and lying about the information and withholding how dangerous that really was to your long-term health that they used to do. This isn't recently, this is years ago. There's been like an overcorrection. Okay. Right. If there's any sign at all now that you might have a head injury or that you've been concussed, they're just going to err on the side of caution. They're going to take you out of the game. So when he goes to stand up and his left leg gives out and he stumbles and guys catch him, regardless of whether he got disoriented, whether like he got choked out, whether or not he actually hit his head and had a concussion, he's not coming back in that game. So he went through the protocol stuff all week. He's passed it. If you watched him right afterwards, they took him in the tent and they kind of examined him. And then he ran from the sideline down.
I saw that.
And around the corner.
Yeah, he ran down there, didn't he?
There's a lot of debate about whether or not he actually had a concussion or whether, like John said, maybe it was like a chokehold or something, a nerve or something in your neck. Or maybe an artery, maybe he got oxygen or blood flow, maybe to the brain is what caused him to kind of stumble and have that confused look in his eyes when he was walking off the field. So I don't
Definitely
think
when
he's healthy. I don't think that the Chiefs or
when
the
they
NFL or the
showed
independent people would risk further injury to him by letting him play this week.
Agreed.
As far as the toe goes, yeah, the toe and the foot, he's mobile, and we talked about the offensive line having a hard time protecting him. That could be a more significant injury than people have let on, although he's kind of downplayed it this week and said it feels a lot better. It really hurt.
It's turf toe. It doesn't just go away instantly like that. I mean, one of our offensive tackles, Isaiah Wynn, he was out for like 5 to 6 weeks with turf toe. That doesn't go away within the space of a week.
Right. And I haven't heard anybody
That's
say
because he didn't want to play in front of Cam Newton, though, Matt. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I never heard a diagnosis of turf toe. I mean, I never heard that. I haven't heard anything affiliated with turf toe. We just assumed so because he couldn't run. And I believe thoroughly that was more concerning. And they were like, get him the fuck off the field. We need to evaluate the foot. Fuck the neck. We'll sell it for whatever it is. Because I would get you the fuck off the field. I don't need you hobbling around, you know? And then I saw him.
I would say
like, he's not fucking broken. You know,
The only thing I would say to that is they showed him in the blue tent before they pulled the thing down, and he did look a bit fucked up. His eyes were fucked.
He did look
And
like he
you
wasn't
can't
there.
be that good an actor.
Just getting off the pitch, he was all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you
It's-
gotta sell it. I think you gotta sell it, man. I really believe that either look, man, if I want to fucking take you down, I'm gonna grab you by the fucking neck and I'm gonna twist it till it fucking falls off. Either you're gonna black out in my arms or I'm gonna let you go so I don't kill you. But either way, I mean, you bend somebody's neck to an extent, something's gonna happen. You're gonna pinch a nerve. You're gonna try. You might dislocate something. You know. I think when you see it in slow motion, and you turn it on, he goes down. They roll him. His guys help him up. I mean, Jesus Christ, they picked him up so quick. I don't even think his feet had a chance to touch the ground. But he did take his knee bent, and it looked like, you know, like he felt like shit for the moment. But shortly after that, one set of downs later, he's doing the running man right down the side of the right off the field there. So I don't know, man. I mean, look, it's not good for the NFL if Patrick Mahomes isn't playing in the AFC Championship. Fuck, it ain't good for Patrick Mahomes if he's not playing in a regular season game. I mean, let's take fan base out of this shit. Money is number one in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is what everyone wants to fucking see. So
The poster child of the
slightest
NFL.
injury, yes, golden child. So if he ain't looking right, get him the fuck off the field.
Can you imagine the Super Bowl for a minute if the Chiefs win tomorrow without Mahomes in there? No one will fucking watch it because, as you said, John, he is the poster boy. They want to do whatever they can to protect him, and I know Scott obviously laughing,
I'd still
but
watch
it's
it, but I give it to you.
seriously, it's true. It's true. They want the fucking golden boy in there, the same as, you know, go. I don't know, fucking how many years back, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, all of the quarterbacks. They want the best players to be in their showpiece. They do.
Yeah.
And
Vegas needs him to play. Point blank, period.
yeah, of course. It's gonna be interesting. Let's go around the horn before we get off. Carl, Super Bowl. Who's in it?
Representing the AFC, Buffalo Bills. Representing the NFC, it's time to jump on that ship. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Me too, man.
Interesting.
I will add. Sorry, then I'll just add one tiny little disclaimer. I will add one tiny little disclaimer as well.
Stop scratching.
Though, obviously, we know Joe Montana took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship. Brady's now done the same without taking the Bucs to the NFC Championship. He's 60 minutes away from doing something Montana couldn't do and take another team to the Super Bowl. That's my
Carl,
case.
be
Go
very
on.
careful because I'm just about to cut you off. You never disrespect 16 on this show. Ever.
I got PTSD.
He is the GOAT. He will
And it's-
always be the GOAT.
I didn't disrespect him. I'm just spurting out facts.
Fuck Brady. Yeah, well, Brady ain't making it. Tomorrow, he is not making it.
We're not pulling for the Packers, bro. We do not want Aaron Rodgers going to the Super Bowl, brother.
I don't want more fucking Brady love. I'm sick of it.
Fuck doesn't matter to us. We don't. It doesn't have anything to do with us.
Oh, it was this. It was that. Fuck them. Fuck them. I would rather see Green Bay go to the Super Bowl than fucking Brady and his fucking dimple in the middle of his chin, lording it up for 2 weeks. Sorry.
I disagree.
I'm
I
just-
would rather shake.
I
I would rather
I-
shake
I-
Bigfoot's
I-
dick than watch Aaron Rodgers in the fucking Super Bowl. I don't want to see it. If there's another State Farm rep in the fucking game, I will vomit. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see it because I know Rodgers wouldn't be in the NFC Championship if the Niners were.
Brady is also
Exactly.
25.
But
and is
also, you're. Go on, Carl.
Brady is also 25-4
Oh.
in games where it's 30 degrees or lower. Lambeau Field's gonna be
Fuck the
fucking
Pirates.
freezing cold.
You
Fuck
don't
the
have that Bill
Pirates shit.
Belichick defense. This
Ivan.
It's Packers
Ivan.
Chiefs. Packers Chiefs. Packers are, I think they're stronger in most areas than the Buccaneers. The Bucks won last week because Drew Brees threw God knows how many interceptions or balls that could be intercepted. Brady had a bad game, so my view on that is, again, the Bucks beat the Packers while in the season, but the Packers will have learned from that. They're not, I think the Bucks won that because they blitzed a heck of a lot. I think 50% of their plays or something were blitzes. I can't remember the stat now. I can't see the Buccaneers getting over the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is an excellent quarterback. They've got a pretty good team all over. I think the Packers win. Equally,
Did the Green Bay Packers learn their lesson last season after playing the 49ers, getting smacked around, and then playing them in the NFC Championship and getting smacked around again?
I think the difference is the 49ers last season were an excellent team, and as Nick and John have been saying quite correctly, if they hadn't been so banged up, they would be but you would be in the NFC Championship game. So it's the Buccaneers, I don't think, are naturally the second best team in the NFC. So my money's on the Packers to win that one. But it's NFL; anything can happen. But I think the Packers. Equally, I think the Chiefs are better than the Bills. The Bill, as I think Scott was saying earlier in the show, the Bill. There's always been something about the Bills where you think, are they quite doing it? Are they as good as people are saying they are? Are they playing as well as they should be? They really struggled against the Ravens. The Ravens have a good team, and the wins affected both of them, but they struggled against the Ravens, and that would worry me. So I think the Chiefs are an all-round complete team. They win their game. They've lost one game this season. And as Scott was saying, that was when you watch it was a great game. When you watched it was just long bomb after long bomb. It's just a shootout. Anyone could have won it. The Raiders happened to. Otherwise, it would be a nice complete season for the Chiefs. They're the best team. The best teams tend to win the game. So I'm going Chiefs. I'm saying Packers Chiefs for me.
John, obviously you're not. We've heard you vocally say that you're not going to have the Packers. What do you think in the AFC?
Look, I don't think that the Chiefs have a better secondary than the Buffalo Bills, but I expect Josh Allen to make rookie mistakes, or I think the stage is too big for him. The culture that the Buffalo Bills are selling right now it's hard not to want to root against them, man. But I still think that the stage is going to be too big for the Bills. I don't think this is their season. Maybe they'll be competitive for a few more years, but I still like a Brady Mahomes Super Bowl story. I think it sells better. I think it's just bigger and better for the NFL. Because look, man, sometimes I think that the game is, I don't want to say it's fixed, but I think it's storylines sell, and refs make calls to keep teams honest and competitive. I don't think that they cheat, but I think they give teams equal opportunity. And I'll tell you why, because I was playing cards at a casino once, and I asked the dealer, I said, "Do you think football is fixed?" And he said, "No, but referees give teams opportunities." And that's what it is. They pick and choose calls. They see shit. They know they should call it. But if you pay attention, they give the other team, if it's a close game, if it's a good game, they make calls just like that Higgins hit. Okay? You want to call it or you don't. The Browns had many opportunities, Ivan, you'll admit this. That hit was early on. You guys had multiple opportunities to make things happen. And with Patrick Mahomes out of the game, it should have been easier. But
if we'd got that touchdown, then you would have had the ball back to us in the second half, and we would have down about 6 or 7 points. So, it's a much closer game. But the annoying thing is he didn't need to stretch. He could have just taken the hit and been a yard or two out and still had 4 downs to go 2 yards. So, it's partly, you can't really say the hit was the fault the Browns lost the game. You never know. You will never know. So
I believe you were cheated. I believe you were cheated, but at the same time, you were given, with Patrick Mahomes out of the game, I mean, teams would be licking their lips at that shit. I mean, that doesn't happen. And in such a big stage, that's where the Browns did not take advantage and capitalize, because, I mean, there were crucial conversions at the end of the game, Ivan, where the Browns were not in. That play where Henny ran the ball, what? 13 yards?
12 and a half yards.
12 and a half yards or something, yeah.
When he was out of the game, I kept saying, why the fuck are the Browns playing so far? Only when Patrick Mahomes is in the game do you play so deep. When there's a backup in the game, I don't give a damn what team it is. Get closer, man. Play man coverage, press coverage, get up on the ball, because that conversion on 4-2 or 4-1, had someone been on the sideline there playing the sideline and not stacking the box, shit, could have had a turnover on downs with 2 minutes in the game. I mean, come on, man. There were opportunities. I mean,
I was watching that play, as you said, that run play.
Jesus,
it was a great play, and Andy Reid, fair play to him. But no fucker was ready for that, were they?
I don't think that was the play.
Not even Tony Romo usually gets shit right. Tony Romo gets everything near enough spot on, and even he got dumbfounded when they did.
I don't believe that was the play. I believe that Henny made that work. I believe he made something of nothing on that, because
body language,
the coverage, they dropped back so deep. They were covering. It was like a cover 9. They were dropped so far back that they gave him the whole fucking field and the first down.
But the reason they did that, but you're right, John, they should have moved up for that one, but they played their tactics for the game, which is because they have no speed. The Browns have no speed at the back. They've got Ward, that's it. Greedy Williams would have been nice, but they've got no speed. So they have to pull back, because they can't risk, losing 7 yards. But that late in the game, that's when they should have been able to risk
that late in the game. I feel like that's the one part of the game, Ivan, where you got to stop with that shit. You got to risk it.
If we the biggest opportunity. Exactly. We'd stop that. We'd stop that. They gets the ball. 2 minutes to go.
And I like the Browns opportunity if you get that ball back. That could have changed the game. And
I think if the Browns got the ball back, I think they would have won that game. But you know what? I think the Chiefs knew that as well, which is why they risked doing what they did and not kicking the ball, because they could have kicked the ball, but they didn't. they went for it, and the reason they went for it is because they knew if the Browns got it, there's a flipping good chance they would have won the game.
There's a good chance. I mean,
The other
I
thing
don't.
as well,
I
with
agree.
that, right? That wasn't Mahomes in there on that third down. That wasn't Mahomes in there on that third down.
Could have
And
fooled me.
They gambled that the bomb was coming. You know, they were gambling that
They
the
worried
bomb was
about it.
coming, so they all dropped deep. And then Henny had that lane, and he took off, and he literally only missed by half a yard. Yeah, but they shouldn't have worried about the pass. That was the issue. If they'd have not pushed back so far, and the linebackers didn't drop in, that would have been stopped, and that was the big problem.
Because they could have played a
Scott.
little bit of man and a little bit of zone, but they were in all zone coverage. They had no man coverage. It was just one of those fucking plays that they're going to regret. I mean, they're going to regret that. That
I think
hurt.
he did.
That hurt.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Scott, we obviously know you think that Kansas City are going through on the AFC. Who are you going to meet in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, just going back to you guys were talking about those last few plays, something that's not getting talked about a lot is that coach for the Browns lost a timeout on an awful challenge on that pass to Tyreek Hill. That
wrong
really
challenge.
hurt them at the end of the game right there. That if they have one more timeout there, it's a completely different situation. So, you know, the Dan Sorensen hit, it should have been a penalty. I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't, but there was plays where you know, the Kareem Hunt lowers his helmet into the defender's head and bowls him over and gets another 5 or 10 yards. It's football.
We can see what we can see what he was trying to do. Though. Defenders are trying to get in and trying to hit contact with their shoulder. The fact it's hit its helmet first is it's an inconvenience.
Yeah, but you can't dive head first. Even if you're diving shoulder first, your head is in front of your shoulder. I mean, that's just the anatomy of your body. Again, I'm not trying to say it wasn't a penalty. It was a penalty. They didn't call it. The referee didn't see it. I think it's a silly thing that expect anytime someone's helmet hits another person's helmet to call a penalty because it's football. But moving on from that, I think the coach, that failed challenge really, really hurt his team. I think he'll learn from that. Hound, I really appreciate you were total class after the game and sent me a message congratulating me on the win. And I think you're a stand-up dude, and I'm happy that your team gave you a good year finally after all those years of misery and losing. And man, you all look like you're on the up and up, so that's tremendous for you and the other Browns fans. As far as the Chiefs go, I would if I had to put money on the game, I would say Chiefs-Packers. But I've just got this feeling in my gut that Brady is going to get to the Super Bowl somehow, and I would love to see. That AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, where Dee Ford's dumbass was offsides and cost us the game, and Brady was celebrating in our end zone to go to the damn Super Bowl. I want payback for that shit.
You are the only Chiefs fan that I know of who will actually admit that Dee Ford was a twat for lining up offside. You're the only person. Everybody else is a moron.
I think we ate the shit.
Brady threw the interception, and wait a minute, there's a flag because Dee Ford is
lined up offside. He's had it hand over the offside. I think that's what you get learned in high school. How do you get lined up in the neutral zone? What?
Offsides to try to anticipate the snap. He just lined up offsides. I mean, you got your hand and you're looking down the line. You have to be able to see the ball. So anyway, I want payback for that game.
So you want the Bucs?
Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and I want to beat him. And I'm rooting for Chiefs, Buccaneers. An interesting stat that I saw this week regarding the Chiefs. There's been 12 teams before the Chiefs, so the Chiefs would be the 13th. 12 teams won the Super Bowl, then hosted their conference championship game the next season, and those teams are 11-1 in those games.
Who was the only loss?
The 49ers was the only loss.
Oh, fucking hell. Seriously. Another fucking dagger. Jesus.
I wasn't going to
really?
That up,
Come on now.
But
come on now.
You did.
What a way to stick the knife in.
I'm rooting. I'm
John,
rooting for Chiefs.
John, at the end of the day, John, John, at the end of the day, we ain't as bad as the fucking Pats with all those injuries, and that's the way I look at it. I'm done with Brady. I'm sick of it. You turn the fucking
I
TV
don't
on.
understand why.
On.
He's done nothing to upset
Brady,
us.
Brady. Fuck Tom Brady. I
Two
want
State Farm reps
to
in the
see
Super Bowl doesn't
Aaron
do anybody
Rodgers.
any good.
But
You're
I
going to
want
get
to see
State
Aaron
Farm insurance
Rodgers.
regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to be sponsored by State Farm. If you're watching, sponsor me because I want discount double check versus Mahomes. And I want to see discount double check win his second ring and put these fucking Chiefs to bed. I'm done with them. I don't want another dynasty. I don't want the Chiefs winning everything all the time. And it's, oh, yeah, Mahomes this and that. Football surely needs to be competitive, right? Not just one team pissing over everyone. And I know you're there, Scott, and I said to you last week, I wanted that Browns story to continue.
Oh, yeah.
And now I want the Bills story to continue. You'll come back next year, you'll fucking win, and no one will give a shit. But this year, I don't want a double. I don't want a repeat. I want to see someone different win it. Because when I turn on NFL Network in the off season, I don't want to see fucking Mahomes on there or fucking Andy Reid on there. I want something different. And to me, that will make me go into the off season feeling better because I don't want 8 months, however many months it is until the season starts, of every time I turn on fucking NFL Network, they're all sucking Mahomes' dick. I'm sorry. And I know the Chiefs are the best team, and they're probably going to fucking win. So I'm just, do you know what? I just want something different. If it was the Raiders or the Rams, fuck that. Chiefs win. Fuck that.
Well, Nick,
But
I unfortunately the Chiefs.
I'm not going to get my
Rico.
wish. I know I'm not. I know I'm not going to get my wish.
The Chiefs are going to go Rico Act on the Bills Mafia, and they're going to shut that shit down. And it's going to be the cold-bloodedest run to the Super Bowl after sending the Cinderella Browns and Cinderella Bills packing after a great year on the way to another Super Bowl appearance for Mahomes and the Chiefs. I hate to break it to you, Nick.
I fucking hate the Chiefs.
I don't think it's going to be easy by any chance. I think Buffalo is going to give you a far better game than the Browns did. Just
Right,
because
I would agree with that.
is pretty damn good. I mean,
The Bills are better than
secondary,
the Browns.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be more mobile. And I believe that I don't give a shit. I believe that Kansas City knew that they needed to get him off the field because they need his legs more against the Bills than they do
What it did against the Browns.
It could
I mean, they do. They're going to need him to run. They're going to need him to be more mobile because the Bills are going to play deep just like the Browns, but they're going to disguise it a whole lot better. They're going to play some man, some zone, and they're going to disguise the defense a lot. And I believe that Patrick Mahomes needs to be at his best because, I mean, that it's going to be a damn good game. Nick, I know you're upset, brother. I'm upset too. There's nothing that upsets me more than when I see him running around on fucking State Farm and Bose commercials, and he's on every fucking.
Don't start me on that fucking Bose thing. All that.
It upsets me. But what are you gonna do?
Fucking hell. Honestly, it's like, yeah, you're really listening to that music, aren't you, Patrick, and whoever else is in that commercial?
God damn.
He's listening to
Dude,
highlights
so
of the
much.
Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, very funny. Scott, I love you. Shut the fuck up. Right, we are going. I've had enough. Scott is far too smug. One day soon, someone is going to knock that smug look off of his face. Let's hope it's this weekend with the Bills. It probably ain't. And I'm still not buying Bose headphones now because Patrick Mahomes is do. Forget it. If you've never heard, by the way, and Carl has never heard of this, before we go, there's a group, Scott, you'll appreciate, very much like the Prodigy, very, very, very ahead of their time, called the KLF on Spotify. Check them out. They
For sure.
were amazing. It's the KLF. Check them out on Spotify. Someone told me today they released their back catalogue, and I haven't stopped listening to it. It's fantastic. Carl wasn't even born when they were around, apparently, and I was like 20. And that fucking annoys me. But anyway, check out the KLF on Spotify. Guys, it's been a great show. Thanks to Pete, Dion, Shark, and everyone else I've forgotten. Thanks for coming on. Next week, we are going to talk about the hires in the NFL and diversity, because that is important, and we do need to discuss that elephant in the room, because it's bullshit. Okay?
Fuck Dan Campbell. That's all I got to say to that.
Everyone, don't forget, COVID's still around. Wear a face mask, wash your hands, don't fuck with it, because it kills motherfuckers. This is the Shank Club NFL. My name's Nick, Carl, Scott, John. Everyone enjoy the games, and we will be back next week. We out of here.